Like I said, some people here may be peaking before time. Some people here too, they have a zero chance. Okay. When you see some of these things, it should force you to question yourself. Are these the people you want to lead the country? Elections have consequences. If maybe somebody here is so way off, but is popular, what we call a populist demagogue, okay? And you think that, no, you know something which should make this person disqualified or should not ever be president, then you become active to make sure that doesn't happen. Because elections have consequences. Some people have elected some people into their, presidencies, and they are shredding their countries. So look, what Musa is doing is useful. Nobody should go after him. Musa, continue to do what you are doing. He himself will tell you that this is by no means an indication of who will win in the end. And they are what we call dark horses in politics. And what in America they call the October surprise. A dark horse can emerge from nowhere at a time that you are not even expecting and take over. October surprises. Some of the people here can be leading. And then 2 weeks to election, you find him in some crazy scandal and poof, he's gone. It happened in Canada in the very, very, very last election. The front runner who was deemed to have gone beyond, the point of winning, like he was the winner, lost. And a person who came from nowhere won. He's not the prime minister. So, in short, it's a useful exercise. I am very excited by it. Like I always say, in Imani, these are some of the things we dabble in. But when people like Musa come across and he's doing a better job specifically on this, we'll see the space to him. Just that he's not trying to steal some idea that we started.
Which is what?
With the sentiment analysis. He's trying to steal our idea. We won't fight you over it. If you do a better job, we may leave it to you.
It just help me to validate what I'm seeing in the polls.
Oh, I understand. You and I understand. But you see, the thing with Imani is that when we see space that is not properly dealt with, we occupy it. We do that work. So energy analysis, whatever it is. But when people emerge who are more specific in that area, we'll kind of cede it to them. So Musa agrees that, we started sentiment analysis. When we started, we were insulted, as usual. But it was very, very interesting.
No, but because you have to take leave of us, I want to stay a bit further with you and on you.
Yes.
And then also I'll go to the others. The consequence of what we are seeing here is some of the, undercurrents that we're talking about. And then also the reported jostling of power, and which resulted in some sabotage and so on, which some have also pointed to.
Yes.
You have the finance minister serving in government, together with the vice president and the chief of staff, all captured in a poll. None of them have come out to confirm or deny that whatever is being said of them as having flag bearer ambitions is true or otherwise. Under normal circumstances, with what we saw yesterday, with the interministerial, salvos that were being fired at each other, you would have the chief of staff, at least as we've seen in previous instances, rein them in. But in this instance, you have the chief of staff also captured as one of the many seeking to be flag bearer. What's the danger or the consequence of a situation like this?
It is normal. This is a home match. All right? It's necessary. Primaries have this effect. Unfortunately, the negative effect is on the nation. It affects the coherence of government. It affects the performance of government. And it just happens the chief of staff is in the race, but he should have whipped them all in line and made sure his team was functioning. Now, seeing that he is in that space, it forced the vice president, if the president will hand her that role, to whip the rest of them in line. She is also in here. So right now, it falls to the president to do this work. He has to keep his team. He has to make sure they are functioning at the highest levels. And he has to make the difficult decision of letting some people step aside, because no matter what English you use, you can't convince any serious political watcher that when you have presidential ambitions, you would be focused on your government work more than that. It doesn't happen. Everything you do is targeted at building a war chest, building a team, and your eye is on the final prize. So the work of real governance is secondary. Nobody should tell us differently. We've been here, we know what happens. So the effect is what it does in terms of the people's functioning in the state. And there are other things which are even worse. Okay, they build a war chest, for instance. When I talk about building a war chest, they suck out a lot of resources, some properly, some improperly, okay, just to make sure that they can finance their, election. Sometimes they can handle it well, most times they don't. And so it falls to the president. The president has been very quiet about this for many reasons. Usually they don't have to want to step in these things, but everybody knows also, at least getting to the end, people tend to know who they support. He's also a president who is leaving. He's thinking about his legacy. He became an elder statesman.
But this could have an impact on the legacy.
It will have an impact depending on how he responds to it. Okay, the first impact is he has to assess how it affects the function of his government and the execution of his own policies. But he also has to, he has to think about what it does in terms of his personal relationship with some of these people, because they would have an effect on his legacy more or less. And therefore he has to decide who stays in, who goes out, etc. Usually they will do the talking behind the scenes. At this level, given where he is, he doesn't want to rock too many boats. He doesn't want to upset too many people. He will be like, you slug it out. It's like a father in the house. You see your kids quarreling. You've assessed the and said, nobody will get hurt in this fight. Let them fight it out.
But you have just outlined the dangers of a situation like this. What would be the consequence of doing nothing? I mean, and leaving it to slug it out.
Consequence of doing nothing, a number of options are possible. It may resolve itself. So, mark these names, most of them will drop out. I think just about 2 or so. I see a conflict in 2 of them. One of them is the godfather of the other. I don't see one of them fighting his godfather. I don't name names. But you see it at the end. One of those 2 will drop out. And I think the others will come to figure out that, look, it's not going to work. They will drop out. We'll be left with about max 3 or so. Okay. So it may resolve itself. It may also degenerate. Degeneration is where it doesn't really resolve itself in a nice, quiet, backdoor way, but it becomes an open fight and you see people jostling for power and affecting each other negatively. A bit of it is what you saw Haruna Iddrisu do. Okay, Haruna is a very fine gentleman, he's a very diplomatic and very respectful guy. Okay, he's one of my favorites in NDC. I'm not talking about the presidency, I'm talking about. Okay, but what he did is what people do, okay, when they want to take pot shots. Okay, and I believe Haruna has a lot of respect for Esiedu. I went after him, a curtain raiser, what kind of thing, in a jocular way, laughing, that kind of thing. That can degenerate. Okay, that can degenerate to the point where you get insults and people actually sabotaging other people, okay, paying people to go after them, etc. It happens everywhere in Ghana, elsewhere, MPP, NDC, everything. Problem is, it doesn't degenerate to the point where it affects us. So you heard about the banter between the finance minister and agriculture minister. These are policy issues. These are things that affect you and I. If 2 ministers are fighting, you know who is suffering? The people. Okay? So if they are doing these things because somebody wants to gain an advantage, then we are the people paying the price. That's where the chief of staff has to step in. He's also fighting in this race. Vice president has to. He's also fighting in this race. It falls to the president. Maybe he is not doing anything about it. We the people, are we going to suffer? What is the truth in what they are saying? Okay? Politics ends up in policy. All right?
Absolutely.
So these are the effects. It can resolve itself. It can degenerate. And we may end up suffering. But look, this is the path we have chosen. Democracy is a dialogue which allows citizens to make informed choices. This is the dialogue. This is the dialogue. I want to do it. No, this person wants to do it. This person is better than this person. Then we ask, why? Musa comes to explain. We are all thinking. Okay? It's a messy process. It's like making sausage. When it's done, it's nice and smooth. But you don't want to see how it is done. You may lose appetite. Okay? And this path, everybody would like to stop it and say somebody should just pick one person and let him go and rule. And that is tyranny. It leads to worse outcomes. So what I want to tell people is that, look, however you are looking at this, whatever you are seeing, understand that this is the process we have chosen. It is a good process, okay, as long as there's no violence and whatever it is. Even insults happen, okay? We should learn to work with it. Don't attack Musa Dankwa if he tells you that in the polls you are not doing well. Musa is a truth teller. okay? And truth tellers have to make the hard decision of accepting risk, opprobrium, that's insult, negative reaction, that kind of thing, and attack. You know what we've gone through in Imani in the past 20 years of this thing that we are doing. But if you choose to be a truth teller, it comes with the territory, okay? So look, this is what we have signed up for. It is a good thing. In the process, we get to know these people better. And we get to make very informed decisions going forward because they will lead this country later. And we will either benefit positively or negatively from it. So it's a good thing.
You see, and Dr. Asajoche, also bring in, it is the negative consequence of what Mr. Bento just diagnosed. In fact, a very detailed diagnosis is done because of the personalities captured in here and what should have been done, which the responsibility falls on them, but unfortunately they are well, would I say unfortunately? Well, they find themselves
it happens.
in the poll that Musa Dankwa has put out.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to ask Mr. Bentil a question. These two, the Chief of Staff and the Vice President, is their inaction occasioned by the poll that he has done?
No.
So if it is not the case, then certainly they must act. Because you see, the argument he put forth is that, well, they are in a fight. So they seem to have been, arm twisted. I don't think that is the case.
So let me just assess it a bit. So they have a job to do as Chief of Staff, okay? But in this particular case, they are in the race. So if the Chief of Staff tries to do anything...
According to Musa Dankwa's polling, not they themselves.
Yes.
You see, that is where the irony is.
Let me tell
so if they have to crack the whip, by virtue of the constitutional powers that they have, they should be able to do so.
There is something called realpolitik. Okay? What you're saying makes sense, as in you have a job, do it.
Yes.
But the man is also a participant in the race. You can't be a referee and a player at the same time. So they won't do it. And if they want to do it, they will have to step off. Otherwise, it's just unfair. So what you're saying, yes, it's true. He has a job as Chief of Staff. Yes. He has to with them. The Vice President, she's very respected. But her name has been mentioned here. Now, let me tell you what can happen. Maybe Madam Vice President, please, this is just hypothetical. Maybe she is not interested. But people want her to run. Okay? There are many people like that. Now, if she realizes that, look, I'm not interested in going to run for this race, but people are calling my name, she will come out quickly and say, please, Musa, leave me out. All the people mentioning my name, please, I'm not going to go in. Then she gains what is called a moral high ground. With that, taking herself out of the race, she can now step in and whip them into line. But as long as she can speak, she hasn't spoken. Who are we to say that she's not interested? As long as the Chief of Staff can come and say tomorrow that, hey, I'm Chief of Staff, I'm interested in doing my job. And please, because of this ABC, I'm not out. I'm out. Okay, he can do that tomorrow. If he hasn't done that, that is indicative of the fact that he may be interested. To the extent that you are interested in competing with a minister who may become your president. People should not forget that these things lead to other things. The people contesting here, okay, well, I believe
they have not said they are contesting. They have not also denied what is happening here. I just have to, yes.
Yes, they have not. The people Musa says are the favorites to contest over here, okay? And Musa has said that any of these people will beat Dr. Bawumia. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Okay, but if that happens, one of them will be president and the others will serve under him.
Absolutely.
And in this country, we've seen many times when people have, gone head to head. Okay, Nana Akufo-Addo served under President Kufuor. Okay, and so this is normal. Now, what would the relationship be like? So, to what my colleague here is saying, he's so very right. But the thing is, the real politics of it is that if any of them was not really interested, they will come out and say it. Then if they do, we know that, okay, the person becomes a referee, no longer a player. It changes the dynamic, and then they can, do the job of whipping them into line so the government can function properly. There's another option. Okay,
which is what?
There are some presidents who will tell you that if you pick too early, I will clear you. If you don't stand well, even if you are going to run, I don't want to see you putting your presidential ambition above your ministerial duties. And if you do that, I will sack you. It's happened in this country before. Okay, so the president himself can say, hey, you guys, focus on this work. until this period, I don't want to be hearing all these things. If Musa Danquah says that, people say, go and issue a statement. He can actually do that and say, I'll give you 2 weeks. If you don't issue a statement, resign. If you don't resign, I'll sack you. All these are possible. So, my brother, if they don't do it, we have to interpret that there's a different reason why they don't do it. They want this state of affairs. As for Musa, they should leave him out. The man hasn't done anything.
But the Council of Elders of the party met the president last 2 weeks Friday. There was a statement that was issued capturing what you said the president should say. But then again, you know, it hasn't done much. Would you expect that the president would be the one to beyond the statement that has been issued by the Council of Elders of the NDC, come out to also speak to these people?
Would I expect? No, I'm expecting something. But, you know, let me say something which is, I'm not sure how it will come across, but when you come to a political system and you have, you know, things like Council of Elders, they are mostly ineffective. Real politics, power is in the hands. In Game of Thrones, they say power is power.
But that's where the challenge is, isn't it?
I'm coming. The point is,
Council of Elders
does the
of
Council
the NDC
of Elders have influence on the president? And to what extent? They are all respectable people, but power is power. Okay? So, where any party, wherever it is, you know, councils of elders don't really have enough power to make real change. So they advise. And most of the time, they advise behind the scenes. Sometimes what they do is they signal what should be the proper position. So, for instance, they will come out and say, this and this and this and this should be done. This is what we want. Don't do this, don't do that. The party is signaling that as an institution, this is how we think, this is what we want things to be like. But it has no real effect in making sure that people operate in a certain way, or it does not affect their conduct. It is the president who has real power. And it is he who can give instructions behind the scenes and say, hey guys, those of you who are not running, next week, decide. Those of you who are running, it is your prerogative to run. But these are the rules. I don't want to see you give priority to your running. This is off camera. Okay? But when he issues that kind of thing, you see changes. Now, those who don't change, tomorrow you will hear reshuffle and they'll be out. So Council of Elders, yes, they are useful, etc. Nobody should put too much importance on what they say, as in whether they can affect any change or not. The only person they can affect is the president, advising him. And then the president can use his power to actually make real change.
Dr. Asante, you're making a point on this, what the consequence of doing nothing will be, and posing that question to Mr. Bento.
Yeah, the consequence of doing nothing. You see, the point is that the argument I was making is the fact that there are people who believe that Musa Danquah's poll is a distraction. So you see, if these polled individuals, right, find themselves inactive, as it were, then the implication is that government will be affected. But you have job to do. You understand, you have job to do. But the irony too is that if you take a certain decision, if you are not careful, others will construe that to mean you are siding with this one or you are opposing with this one. That is a dilemma of the president, and it is definitely too early for the president to act in this instance. With a view
it's too early for the president to act, you say?
Oh, yes.
Why?
You see, whichever way you look at it, if he speaks, right, others will construe that as opposing this particular individual or favoring this particular individual. So he can decide to act. Now, you can see that the president has acted through, first of all, Dr. Callistus, right? The epistle that he put out.
You see the president's voice
is there.
In the article Dr. Callistus Mahama put out?
Certainly. The president's voice is there. And I see also, you see, when you listen to Mr. Fagbande, for example, the Deputy General Secretary, he also spoke. And in his view, if I sum up whatever he said, there is a disconnect between government and the party. Why is that the case? Probably individual ambitions, right, are crisscrossing the main, mandate of the government. Then you have Mr. Kwachu Fosu as well, also making a statement. Then comes the Council of Elders. I think that the Council of Elders stopped short at mentioning names, and I think that is very diplomatically correct. So if they go on, right? If there are further skirmishes within the party, as it were in government, that will more or less militate against the performance of government, then certainly they may want to go a little further, you know, by either mentioning names or coming out with rules and regulations, as it were. So the point for me is that some of these things may have created some kind of internal problems.
Musa Danquah's polls.
Yes, it may. Because if, for example, you see, I started mentioning sabotage, you know, undermining. And these things are real because politics is about taking advantage of the opportunity that comes your way. So if you think that this is your main opponent, assumedly, then certainly why wouldn't I do A, B, C, and D? But that is where it squarely falls in the purview of the president, that this is my government. If I feel that somebody is doing something untoward, that will affect my legacy, the actualization of my legacy, we need to see him acting. He doesn't have to say anything in the public space. He just have to act in terms of action. And whichever way you construe it, that is your own problem. Other than that, it is definitely going to affect motivation. You see, take for example, the Agric Ministry is, in our part of the world, is always the hub, the central hub that moves the economy, right? So if any decision that is taken that has the intention of more or less, you know, sabotaging or undermining, then there's going to be a problem. That's where Mr. Bentil talks about the general, you know, affection, you know, the effect of that on, that's a policy kind of thing. It is going to affect you and I. So a decision ought to be taken. But the question too is...
and that's why I was asking why you said that it's too early for the president to act. Because what you're saying now actually gives reason for the president to act early. If the consequence of this would impact all of us, if nothing is done.
Well, sometimes too, you just have to take a deep breath and then see how you can deal with that without creating instability. Whichever way you look at it, the finance ministry, Agric ministry, they are equally important. Man must eat. So if, for example, we are seeing inflation rising a bit and then food inflation equally, then Ghanaians are going to complain. So we need to see that indeed, if exactly what is happening at the forefront of government is the case, then certain things must be done right. So if you saw what happened from yesterday up to today, the point is, why should there be a situation where we say that there has been certain releases, when in natural fact, nothing of that sort has happened, and then there is a rebuttal? It creates instability. And I've seen a copy of a letter released by MOFA, right, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, you know, in a very diplomatic response. Official
in the ministry.
Yes.
Not, is it the ministry or
the ministry
an
itself.
official in the ministry? Okay, no worry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you listen to, or if you have read that particular letter, it talks about goods and services. As at the end of May, it's just 15% that has been released. And then Nkukon Kitenkete is a farm to that project, 27.5%. Fertilizer and certified seeds, 3%. National Food and Buffer Stock, 0%. It is now that they are talking about the 200, you know, million, and so on and so forth. And so, if you create a situation where those in the Agric ministry come under that kind of pressure, then certainly they are going to receive calls. Contractors that have executed certain projects, yes, of course.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay, yeah. You go
So
ahead.
these are the projected in the budget figures.
But
the actuals.
Okay.
But you see, in that particular video, the Deputy Finance Minister made us understand that 85%
Of this is of goods and services.
goods and services.
Because when you check the budgetary allocations as well, it's consistent with the Deputy Finance Minister, specific to goods and services, not the entire budget to the ministry. So those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even that, you see the percentage that has been released is not up to that kind of amount. So for me, these things can easily be ironed out behind the scenes. It ought not to degenerate just because we think that some people have that kind of ambition. So we are assuming that they are kicking against each other internally. It can easily be resolved.
Is it an assumption, or the symptoms we are seeing is a reflection of the reality undercurrent?
You see, the point is that none of these individuals, right, is on the ticket that they are contesting.
But you
So
cannot...
you see, these things are assumptions. They are just hypothetical. It is. That's why I have the view that until I find a list that these 5 individuals are going to contest in the flag bearership race, these are mere assumptions.
So you question the usefulness of an exercise like this by Musa
Well,
Dankwa?
obviously, he's doing his job. He needs to keep the audience also in mind, the electorate, to have certain things to read. So you may not be able to tell the motive, whether he also has an interest or not. You may not be able to tell.
Or do you have an interest?
It's very unfortunate for a doctor to say such a thing. We are a company. We have done this consistently since we were set up. MPP time and today. What interest do we have in the MPP time?
I used the word may.
But
I said may or may not. I didn't say you have.
Look.
So your answer will be a bit...
We choose words carefully in this context. We are posters. Look, as a risk, I don't know. If you wait until the floodgates are open, what is the effect of that? We have given people chance to call us to take their name out if they don't want it. It's not by force that your name is here. We've put out a notice. If you don't want to be part of it, call us.
So
some have called us.
You call these people?
No. We don't even call them. Well, we said we are doing this hypothesis.
Okay.
If you're not interested, you want your name out, please let us know. Some have called. We got their names out.
I see. But have you called any of these people?
No, I don't have to call them. They know who we are. They know what we do. They know. They have our numbers.
Because you say you've called some people.
No. I didn't say I called. We put out notification, a notice, announcement. If you don't want your name to be here, let us know.
And none of these people have reached out to you that
no.
they want their names out?
No. If they do, we'll take them out.
I see. Okay. Yes.
So I want my brother not to assume that. I said we don't know his motivation, whether he has an interest or he doesn't have an interest. So it is neither here nor there. I'm not saying he has.
No, the point is that if I have an interest, that shouldn't affect the data I collect. I have no feeling in the data.
I agree with you. So, Alfred, let's take another hypothetical situation. I want to ask my brother, if someone also comes out with a poll, a bit different from what is put out there, will he doubt the integrity of that poll, or because they may not fall within his destiny? I don't know.
We have never been the only institution that does poll in this country. There are several polls that come every week. You pick what suits you and follow that.
Okay.
So let me...
I see. Quick one.
When it comes to these research things, if somebody puts out a poll, a priori, before anything happens, you can judge the methodology they used to decide whether you are going to believe the poll or not. Then there is post facto. If even the methodology is the Mpoto approach, as you know, but the outcome is equal to reality, you take notice. Yes. So in the US, for instance, there are many weird pollsters. Okay, they have weird methodologies that they use. All right, but their outcomes are very accurate. Then you have to take them seriously. So in that case, we just have to, ask Musa. You have a right to ask for methodology. What methodology? He will explain it, and then we'll look at whether the outcomes of Musa's polls are close to reality. And time has proven. In fact, there's a funny point we were making off screen. There are people who were not in these polls earlier, and some of them were complaining. I don't know this for a fact. We hear rumors. So Musa is here. You can ask him to complain. Some people say, "Why didn't you put me inside?"
Is it true?
Yes.
Some of the people call you why they are not in the poll.
Yes. You see, there's so many other things that happen.
Some people wanted their names here.
And we said to them that their names may have appeared somewhere, but it didn't cross the percentage mark for them to be isolated in the report. But if you go to the list, some had 2%, some had 0.2%, some had very percentages there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr.
interesting.
Musadaka, is it possible that those you poll, Alfred, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, please.
Yeah. Those you poll, right? They are determining the outcome of this. Is that not the case?
As in the sample size you take.
Yes.
Yes, they are determining.
But the trick is in picking the right sample.
That is where I was coming to.
All right. So if you
that's
go,
methodology.
if you read, and doctor, you always get my report. You always get it.
I read everything, so don't worry.
So I don't expect you to be making some of the comment you are making today.
So did you read the methodology?
They don't. It is there always. The first 2 pages is there. Always. It is there. It is a random sampling approach placed to over the 317,000 NDC delegates.
So this one, you said baseline poll 1, you called 5,778
Delegates.
NDC delegates.
Yes.
5,000.
From 16 regions. Here.
Yes.
16 regions.
All 16.
Random probability sampling.
And your confidence level is 99%.
Yes.
That's audacious. 99%.
This is the work.
That's the
And
confidence
it's
that you have.
computer-based telephone interviews. We call them on the phone.
You call them on the phone.
Yes.
You see, computer-assisted telephone interview.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means we don't go there face-to-face with them. We call them on the phone on the numbers we have given. So we know their electoral areas, we know their polling stations, we know their numbers.
I see. Does that answer you?
Oh, I always read this. Sometimes,
Then query us.
yes. So if we are querying the methodology, I don't think you should also take it personal.
No, so what is wrong here?
I look at the period, 31st March, right, to 4th April.
2026.
That is how many days?
Yeah, that's about 5
That's
days.
5 days.
Max 6.
And then you are calling 5,778 within 5 days, right? Then you have to look at the number of questions that these individuals, respondents, will have to answer. So if you do...
Look,
No, I'm not saying...
I
you
don't
don't
have
answer.
capacity issue.
No.
It's a capacity issue.
We have
It's a capacity issue.
a
That's all.
complete office with 85 capacity call center. 85. If a person does 50 calls a day, multiply that and see what you get. That is how you calculate whether it's reasonable or not.
Capacity issue.
If you like, come to our office, we'll take you around an excursion, you see.
Honorable Dr. You said you've been called before
Yes.
by
And,
Global Alpha Analytics.
No, by
who?
Dr. That's the doctor in West of Ghana. Yes,
yeah.
his team.
Asante.
Asante.
I think so. And
I
they
see.
were. So I was driving when the call came.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I got to know that there was a random.
So this just to put on record. This is a
Yes,
different poll,
No,
not
I'm
Global
only
Alpha
saying.
Analytics. That there's
I'm only
something
saying
of
that
sort
in
Let
the
us do the
random
work.
sampling,
happens.
they don't even know who they are calling.
No.
Because
Call
it's
the number.
immaterial. They just call the number.
No, yeah,
They
that's
don't know who
random.
they are calling.
That's random.
Yeah.
There are times
What
you don't.
in this
There are times
instance
you
is a
don't.
specific
You know, you're calling delegates.
sample
It
they're
is
using.
a random
These are
sampling from a sample size.
of delegates.
Yes.
Within the NDC.
So it's random sampling from a delegate size.
Because we can't call everybody.
Exactly.
And
So
we
when you
have,
take that delegate data, you random sample the people up to a certain number.
I think that's not contested. Yes, you conclude on your point. I need to come to it is. I don't think the consequence of what you are doing is what is
Why
being
is
seen now.
Roxy
If you
not
have had anything in mind with the jostling and the undermining and the sabotage, was that what you intended to achieve with this?
no, actually, look, if they are really looking at the data, let's go back. The key issues here.
The key issues, yes.
The delegates are saying that for you to win their vote, you must be seen to be performing. How can you perform if you're not focusing on your job? We're helping them to focus their mind on the work. And they are saying visionary. In your work, let them see your vision in the work you are doing. And then they are saying good servant of the government. You can't be doing things outside there and be good servant. So these are the key guidelines. You focus, you do your job, you'll be rewarded.
Can you go back to the
We
first?
shouldn't focus on these numbers.
What?
The performance, yes. Mr.
No,
Mr.
this
Danko.
one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, this.
Okay, performance, right? You are expecting the people you are polling to have adequate information, as it were, to determine which of those people they are polling have performed or is performing. What are those things? What are the indicators that they are using to measure performance of the people that they are polling? So, for example, let's just say, for the purposes of the argument, Mr. Asiedun Katia, the chairman. I don't know the mindset of those who have been polled, because we can say that he's not a member of government, right? He's not a member of government. He's the chairman of the party. So his performance, the measuring rod you are using to, assess his performance is going to be a bit dicey. That's how I look at it. So we may be dealing with people who may not be well informed, as it were.
Look, yes. This is not linked to any individual. We didn't ask you, who do you think is performing? We have not asked that question. We said, what are the things that would be important to you, that would be used to select the person you want to lead this party?
With the symptom of what's happening now with the jostling and the infighting, have you seen the symptoms of it we have seen play out, which you know?
Yes.
If you had to speak to the president, what would you have expected to be done?
Look, you see,
essentially because the people who should have been whipping these people in line,
Alfred,
are the ones also captured in here.
I'm a pollster. I'm not a political commentator. Some of the comments will be made by my colleagues over here. I stick to the numbers. As what they should do or not do, that's none of my business.
The current of what is happening now has been what is pointed at what you're doing.
What I'm saying is that once you look at this, don't forget the other data. That tells them what they need to do.
Which is this?
Which is this?
Okay. I don't know if I've got. So this is a direct consequence of what we are seeing playing out. Mr. Bento says the president has a number of options: quiet, see it play out, and resolve itself, or it could implode if it is not addressed. The president doesn't step in to do this. Dr. Asantioche sees the president's view in Dr. Callistus Mohammed's article, but that has not addressed the issues on the ground. The people or the person who is supposed to have been acting in the hierarchy, in whipping things in line, if you see two ministers or elements within two ministries play out and just fire salvos at each other, it's also captured in here. What do you expect?
First of all, I think that you have set your exams and you have set your questions and you are answering them in the way you want to do, to communicate something that is not there.
Rather,
this government is not in crisis. There's no power play. There's no turf war. And so, let me speak clearly so that you the media men, will appreciate this. Now, the executive secretary to the president spoke by issuing a letter, like a whip, which was right. Not because people were going out of the way to go and campaign, but there was a certain sense of people trying to forget themselves, even CEOs. So he was just waking everybody up that please focus on your work. Because some agencies were getting into some activities that were not their core mandate. It was to straighten everyone. And as the chief whip, I do it in Parliament. Now, the media latched onto that and said, oh, it's because people have flag-bearer ambitions. And you strung that out.
No, but why are you saying it's the media?
Please.
We see the evidence of it play out anyway.
Can I finish?
Yes.
You guys have run to town with this, and I'm trying to tell you that it is non-existent. You have actually pitted the work of the national chairman. And the national chairman has been doing this work even as general secretary. He was general secretary for 17 years. Please, after every elections, he went round to thank the people, even when we lost. 2016, he did it. If you recall, the president then flag bearer who we lost 2016, we went round and thanked the people. The general secretary actually went round, thanked the people, and promised that an audit will be done, a search will be done into why we lost. So the Kwesi team was put together to do a certain search into our performance. And a report was generated. It was spearheaded by the general secretary at the time. He subsequently became the chairman. When we lost the 2020 elections narrowly, and he actually, as part of the message of hope, when he came around was that the president also came around, the flag bearer. He went round, he did his thank you talk. But the general again came round and told the people that, yes, and he actually said that we actually won parliament. But some seats were taken away from us last minute. So people shouldn't lose hope. And that in 2024, we'll have to work together so well that the results will be beyond doubt. And everybody believed him. And we kept ourselves together and worked and delivered indeed according to his promise in 2021, in 2024. But you, the media are saying that his thank you tour amounted to the fact that he has a flag bearer ambition, so he's going around doing campaign.
Is it the media?
Please.
Is it the media saying
please,
it?
can I finish?
No, but the reason why you are pointing to the media and saying it is not the media saying so.
Please. But who is saying it? You are setting the agenda. You are making.
Why are you not referencing what is on the board
here? Can I finish? Let me finish. And I'll come to Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa is also in the media, is it not? So let me finish. Let me finish. So the chairman's going around is something he does as a matter of course, as part of his work. So it has nothing to do with flag bearer ambition, if any, because he hasn't declared anywhere that he wants to run. You are making the suggestions, the insinuating, and try to knock heads together. Now, Musa Dankwa decides to do a poll because, like Bentil said, this is a matter of course. And are you not happy that this is happening in the NDC? In 1997 and 98, we were accused of swear road declaration.
You did it.
Yes. That because the old man held Professor Mills' hand, he picked a flag bearer for us, and therefore all the others who had opportunity or who were eligible to participate in a fair competition to elect a flag bearer, they were denied. This matter festered, leading to breakaway in the NDC. Today the NDC is together. The sitting president won't continue in office by constitutional stipulations. So it's a natural consequence that the party itself, even if people are not interested, the party must go out of its way to look for people to replace him. So these are natural consequences. But Musa decides to, okay, he looked through, he put this out. He said he sampled about 24 possible persons who may have the ambition of replacing His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the flag bearer for purposes of 2028 elections. Then he sold them to a sample size of our delegates. So the sampling happened in a two-tier level. First, he chose the best out of the 24, or the powerful out of the 24, and dropped the rest. And then went to town among our delegates with the shortlisted 5. Is it 5 or 6?
About 6.
Shortlisted.
He didn't choose. He says the delegates who chose.
No.
I said.
He sampled.
No.
So I revise.
Okay.
So he selected the best 5 out of the 24.
No. The delegates rated the top 5.
Good.
Not me.
Good. So let me hold on. I'm
Well,
saying
there's a
that
difference.
the sampling happened at 2 levels.
Okay.
First, or let me understand you. Did you go to that with all the 24?
Okay. It was top of mind
Yes.
survey.
Good.
No name will be mentioned.
I agree.
But we had all the names written somewhere.
Again, I agree.
When you mention, then we tick.
Again, I agree.
We don't give you any name.
Again, I agree.
So those who mentioned names that were not on 24,
Yes.
they were still as others.
Okay.
Which were not on the list.
So let me speak my understanding of what you put up. My understanding is this: that first, out of the 24 that you put out, you picked the best performing 5. Out of the 20.
If you say you pick, you're putting the burden on me.
No. Okay. So you settled on the best performing 5 out of the 25.
delegates settled on the top performing 5.
Yeah. No.
Take me out of it.
No. Please.
No,
Musa,
don't personalize it.
Musa,
That's the
I am
problem.
not personalizing.
So let's say you.
Can I finish?
Okay.
Can I
hold on.
let me finish, please? Because you are not displaying the other 19. You have decided not to display the other 19.
Let me interject quickly. There was a complete list of the candidates and what they got. Before we summarize to this, the list is in the report.
Okay. Then you didn't say that. So you should have said that the other 19 falls under the 5%. Then
Of the others.
yes. Then we are speaking in context. So out of the polls that he conducted, 5 emerged as best performing by the delegates in terms of the answers they provided. So Musa then puts their performance in terms of the proportion and puts the results out. And the media, are saying that the possibility of these people participating in the flag bearership race for week 1, week 2, if the elections were held today, this will be their performance in terms of the sample size. Okay. And you are using it to suggest that this will have an impact on government. I haven't heard the chief of staff declare his intention to contest as a flag bearer, as the chief of staff. The vice president hasn't done that. So all the arguments and this long debate is based on the research done by Musa Danquah. That is fine. But again, I'm telling you that any of the top performing 5 can lead the party. But it has no consequence on the suggestion that, for instance, yesterday, the issue between Finance Ministry and Agric. Because Eric Opoku has not been, it's not in the top 5. And I haven't heard anywhere.
He supports somebody.
Do wait. I haven't heard anywhere that Eric Opoku, the Honorable Eric Opoku, wants to run for flag bearership. And the Finance Minister hasn't declared
But
anywhere.
he appeared on your polls at one point. Is it not?
Please.
No, I'm just saying. No, you haven't heard. But I'm only just saying that Musa Danquah did Eric Opoku appear on your polls at some point.
He hasn't the other 19.
Yeah,
That is under the
That's the
others.
19, which the full report
Okay.
have them.
Okay, he's there.
Yes.
Okay. So granted.
I see.
But to us, there's no acrimony between the finance minister and the agriculture minister. In fact, to the extent that you even trace it to the leadership change in parliament. When Haruna was our leader, I was arguably his right-hand man in terms of work on the floor. Because he actually brought me forward because of things like that. Every information, constitutional matters, everything. Now, when the change happened, I still work closely with Atufosi. He maintained our relationship, and I again work with them in Abuja and Amambua. Well, the people he changed, or the people the party changed, they were like my godfathers in parliament. They showed me the way around on the floor. And Najapa and I were in the house. They trained some of us who were like 7 or 8 boys. I use boys advisedly.
Well,
To always be on the floor and deal with matters. So they groomed us. Muntaka, Haruna,
Right.
Aveji, they are under their leadership. They groomed us. But the same team, we supported Atu's leadership to be able to continue from where Haruna left off. And again, General's comments actually praised Muntaka and Haruna when they left office. In fact, in Ashanti region, but for Muntaka's work and intervention and abilities, we wouldn't have doubled our seats, but we doubled our seats in Ashanti region from 4 to 8. In the northern region, look at our performance in the northern zone. Haruna actually took charge of the northern zone during the elections. And these are matters of record. And General spoke eloquently to these matters, but the media have refused to focus on that positive
But
aspect.
you heard what I played. It was a full compliment of.
So, no, but I mean the focus. Your focus so far has been on the earlier part when he was trying to justify. But in Parliament, I didn't appoint myself as the chief whip. My boss, Honorable Ayariga, he didn't appoint himself as the majority leader. Everybody is appointed by the party. The caucus leadership in Parliament is the party that determines. And if the parties come to a determination that there ought to be a change, how can you say you disagree? You must always, the party is bigger than all of us.
Yeah.
You know all these things. That is why, again, Haruna and Muntaka and Aveji, they were encouraged to support the new leadership and we work together. Now, Kofi said something that the change didn't have an impact.
There was no consequence.
But there was. He himself alluded to it. And I'll remind him, when Apenyo Maki when there was some jostling, because I follow him, he made a point that Central Region will be key. Central Region will be key. I recall that because we do this nearly every weekend. So I remember that debate that Pebu was here. He was this way, I was here, and then there was another person, and we did that debate. So he did the permutation and said, the belief is that flag bearership, the running mate swap may go to Ashanti region, and if that is the case, then the majority leadership cannot stay in Ashanti, and therefore Central region will be key. So Apenyo, he eulogized Apenyo and made the point that Apenyo should be capable of taking over because Central will be key. Okay. Because by then we had chosen Atu to lead us as the party NDC has chosen Atu. So I was making the point that maybe in order to neutralize Atu's influence in the Central region, it will be good for Apenyo because Central region will be key and his leadership and all will be key. So these things, it may not be a holistic, it may not be a holistic factor.
You had indicated that there's...
Yes. But it's key. Now, why I think the leadership change was also key was because we came out more formidable. Because you saw the old leaders also supporting the new leadership. And so a lot of things that the NPP wanted to do, they couldn't do it. Because we were more resolute.
So your position, there was a consequence.
So my point is that it helped. Now, the releases by the finance ministry, why I think that what happened yesterday was quite unfortunate. Because when the finance ministry, for instance, when they pay parliament, they will show us the evidence that, they've done the releases. And you see the document. But it goes to controller. Controller have to mobilize resources in order to actually make the actual payments. It takes a bit of time because the taxes, they trickle in. As for finance, they've done their part. So when the finance ministry, for me, says that we've done these releases to Agric, amounting to 1.6 billion, amounting to about 85% of the budgetary allocations to the ministry, they actually spoke the truth. And they brought the documents to show. Now, Agric is saying, yes, that must have been done, but the actuals haven't come in. But we all know that it takes controller a bit of time to make, but this ought not to have come out publicly. I don't think that, I agree that this isn't a matter that we should have, the media liaison of the Agric ministry should have gone to town with. Because this is not what you do when you are in government.
But many will point to it as a symptom of the undercurrent that is you are ruling.
I think that it was a misjudgment on the part of my brother Humto. Because even the minister was not in town. when I checked, Eric was
Belarus.
Eric was with the president on an official tour. Do you understand? The president left the UK and is on an official tour in Belarus.
Those who point to this as a symptom of what you are living in denial of.
I am. What is the denial?
That if
no,
if
let me ask you.
if there's
you see,
no,
I think
hold on.
Let me also ask you. Let me ask you. No, hold on.
See,
hold on.
I'm the one asking the
yes, but let me also ask you. You are the media.
I'm the one
you
asking
are asking.
Hold on.
Hold on. You two hold on.
If the chief, if there's nothing happening,
I'm not finished. Let me finish.
What was the reason for the secretary to the president's article?
That was earlier on. That was to call all appointees into check. Some appointees were losing focus. Some appointees were losing focus, honestly. So that's why I made the point that it was not about flag bearers race. It was about the general appointees, DCs, government appointees, those even chairing boards and all that. So it was a general call to order. Now, you are making the point that what now I wish you could find out whether what the finance ministry put out was inaccurate. It was accurate. It was accurate. So the question we all should ask is, why did controller delay in making the releases? And we know the bureaucracy involved in that. So I think that as a government we are guided. All our appointees are also guided. If you're a media liaison, I don't think that you should be running to town with information that you may not have the full facts about. So,
okay,
I would leave it here.
All right. No, Dr. Sajaj, you want to ask? Mr. Danko, I have to leave off.
The last
Bento has
question.
left us as well. Yes, so.
From the time that my brother started, I think from last 2 years, at the end of the elections. So the first one that he came up with, we had Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman on top. And then, unfortunately, she fell ill. Then the next thing that came, we had Haruna leading. And then later on, we had Dr. Atuforsen. And then we have Mr. Seydou Nkatia. And then it's been like that for some time. So I wanted to ask him whether it is impossible that others may come in.
Okay,
I'm only asking.
you want to,
that is one.
because you're leaving us at some point.
It is not a question that is not obvious to answer. If a department master calls me that is running in NDC primaries and it's an NDC
So
member,
assess him.
and he showed me that he's going to contest, his name will be put there.
Yeah.
So the question is that
But you can be assured that is never going to happen.
Perfect.
My name will go on an NDC.
All right.
We'll not even admit you.
I want to move to.
We'll not even admit you.
So the question that I want to ask him substantively is, what dynamics, right, have occasioned this change?
Okay.
The trend.
Okay. Let me take it from this. There are two set of polls that we are publishing. The one with the general public who don't vote to elect flag bearers, but they express their preferences. In that poll, the leader first was Jane Nana. When she fell sick, Haruna Iddrisu led all the way until March 2026. It was only in March that Atuforsen led among the general voters.
I see.
We've only done 2 NDC delegate polls. And those 2 polls, number 1 has been Asedin Ketia, and number 2 has been Atuforsen. Number 3, Haruna Iddrisu. 4, Julius Debra, and 5, Jane Nana. And that is what we have.
And because you are testing sentiments,
Yes.
there are those who say this is not a poll in the real sense of the word. This is more of a popularity.
No, it's a poll.
Test
It's
that
a
you are
poll.
doing.
It's a poll.
I see.
Look, it's the person who is popular who will eventually emerge. Human beings are not machines. Human beings have feelings. Their sentiment is what they carry to the ballot paper or ballot box and vote.
Honorable Ijabah Mensah, on this, quickly, because there are other matters I want to draw you in, whether or not it's too early for the president to act or otherwise. Yes.
I suppose that, as has always been the case, before even I start, let me say good morning to my colleague panelists and to our cherished viewers. And apologies for being slightly late, even though I've been here for over an hour. Ordinarily, I don't express any view on the work that Musa Dankwa does. It's his job. He's found a certain niche that he feels the Ghanaian populace would be interested in, and he does these polls from time to time. And so, to that extent, it is what it is. I mean, everybody places a certain value or otherwise on the outcome of the polls, and for me, that is just it. But I'm really surprised that my brother, Dr. Mapo, this morning, who strenuously is seeking to delink the polling from what is actually happening on the ground. Because if the polling had no bearing whatsoever on happenings in government, the lamentations of the executive secretary of the president would have been completely unwarranted. But you read the text of what the executive secretary of the president put out only a month ago, May 5th, 2026. It tells you that indeed the center cannot hold. And that our friends in government really have a lot to deal with on their hands. I'm really surprised that the president, even though he's a lame duck president, is demonstrating clear.
What do you mean?
He's not contesting any future election.
We know the meaning of the
please. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, he is demonstrating clear impotence.
You will say that.
You have to.
You will say that.
Why should I withdraw?
You will
because
say.
See.
You will say. You could say that without necessarily actually using that particular expression.
That he's a lame duck president. But what's a lame duck president? What's the meaning of a lame duck presidency? That somebody whose term is coming to an end and has no future election to contest.
That's not a lame duck.
So what is a lame duck? What is a lame duck? What is a lame duck? No, but exactly my understanding is what I put up. You see, I'm saying.
When you become lame, obviously it means you cannot perform.
Why?
But of course, that's my worry. Because 1 year, 6 months into the administration, if the executive secretary has cause to put out this letter, then I'm worried. It clearly demonstrates a government that is not in control of its appointees.
Is that what you see happening?
Precisely. Because otherwise, why would the executive secretary say there's quite danger that sometimes critical political not? Please, if you look at the actual text, okay, as reported by Herald, the executive secretary to the president, John Dramani Mahama, issued a stern caution to government appointees and party figures nursing ambitions to lead the National Democratic Congress, urging them to step aside if their political aspirations threaten to undermine their current responsibilities and the mandate of the administration. It is clear to me that they have seen that the actions of some appointees is undermining the agenda of the government. Why are they not acting on those? Oh, please, Rock.
You see,
when you were speaking, I was here.
Yes, but
allow me to make my point.
Let me say this.
I will come to you.
The executive secretary was only amplifying the guidelines put out by the party earlier.
And that's even more worrying. That if the executive secretary, having observed the actions of the appointees of the president to be undermining the mandate of the government, can only lament by writing letters and putting out in the Daily Graphic and not acting, then I'm worried. Because I would have expected that the president, if he was in control, would crack the whip and bring his appointees in line. But it seems to me that everybody is on the frolic of his own. To the extent that we saw the kinds of exchange that we saw yesterday in the media, I was completely scandalized that you have two ministries, two important ministries, bantering on social media, and you say that the president is in control. Look, it's the Ghanaian taxpayer that is suffering from the inaction of the government. You recall, not too long ago, a chief executive made a disparaging statement against one of these religious heads in our country. What was the response of the government? After 1 year after the publication of the code of conduct, the chief of staff's response was to go and stand in church and cry. What does it tell you? They are either crying for the actions of their appointees or writing lamentations and putting it out in the daily graphic. Is that what you expect of a government that is in control? Is that what you expect of a government that is in control of its appointees? To the extent that it is degenerated to the point where the Ministry of Finance is making statements that official rebuttal is being issued by the Ministry of Agric to counter the statements that the Ministry of Finance has issued. We are in deep trouble. And let nobody blame the media or Musa Dankwa for the work that he is doing. The undercurrents are real to the extent that the executive secretary of the president himself and people in the Jubilee House are commenting on these matters in public. How do you blame the media as the ones setting in the agenda? We saw the exchange between the party chairman and the response from Haruna Iddrisu. We all saw it on tape. You don't have the clip in this your studio.
Oh, we played it.
You played it before I got here. So why are we tickling ourselves? Rather than calling on the government to put its foot down and ensure there's sanity in governance, we are sitting here blaming the media for setting an agenda. How is the comments that Honorable the chairman of the NDC made and the response by Honorable Haruna Iddrisu an agenda of the media? How is the exchange between the finance and agri ministry the agenda of the media? How is the lamentations and the crying of the chief of staff and the executive secretary of the president media agenda? These are the realities of your government. And if you are not worried as the chief whip of this government, then I'm sorry for you. But I'm not surprised. The kinds of things that is going to happen, these are early signs within the NDC. And Ghanaians should brace themselves that the people that they elected to manage their affairs are rather focused on pursuing their personal agenda. And that's the reality of this administration as we see it and as it's playing out in the public space.
Well, you wanted to quickly.
One.
Mr. Dankwa will have to leave us. So I have to discharge you. And so when should we expect another one? Next?
In the next 2 weeks.
In the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
You are bringing out
The
something
national tracking poll, the one that comes every 90 days.
on the NDC?
Everybody, this whole governance issue and everything.
Right. And that would still include this.
Nothing has been excluded.
We will include this.
Nothing has been excluded.
Okay. 2 weeks.
2 weeks time.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Perfect. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Yes,
number one, I can share in the Japan Spain. He's looking for something to hang on.
Oh, serious man.
He's not getting anything, so he's focusing on a storm in a teacup.
Oh, let's all hope so.
Yes, and Japan says that hey, we are not, this government is not in crisis. And I want to assure him. And you see, like I said, it's a natural consequences. And Japan time was when 17 persons came up out of your party to succeed President Kufuor. Time was. These are healthy occurrences in a democracy. But your point that people are hungry over their flag bearership ambitions and therefore abandoning governance and all that, I'm saying is inaccurate. The persons that have been highlighted, none have so far declared their flag bearer ambitions publicly, and therefore have marshaled resources and time and energy pursuing so. Third, I insist, and you can make that connection, I insist that the letter from the executive secretary indicating generally to appointees and those who have flag bearer ambitions to resign was actually amplifying the guidelines put out by the NDC for its internal elections. Because the General Secretary, if you recall, as part of the guidelines has indicated to the extent that even party officers who want to seek re-election, they should resign their positions in government. That's the first layer. First layer. for any person who wants to, a government appointee, if you are interested in contesting for any position within the party, at all the levels, you must resign 6 months to the elections.
Right.
Now, if the executive secretary amplifies this in a letter to appointees and specifically maybe highlighting on flag bearership, I think it's in order. If you have an ambition, by all means, go and pursue it so that somebody else who is not interested in becoming a flag bearer can be appointed to fill. I mean, there can be no healthier call than this in terms of the governance. But he want to mischievously twist this and say that government is in crisis. This government is very healthy. We are focused. We are delivering on our mandate. We just delivered a major legislation reforming legal education. And I think that's my senior at the bar. Should be happy about that. We just delivered the other legislations. So, my senior and brother Ejapa, calm down. Your BP level shouldn't rise at all. We are healthy, we are fine. And so we want the people to continue to support. The people they elected to serve them are serving them to the best of their abilities. And it's reflecting in the results, in the statistics that are being put out. Today, inflation is below 4%. Today, CD has stabilized. The economy is blossoming. And that is about bread and butter. So, this attempt by Ejapa to suggest that there's something untoward, there's an implosion, is absolutely false. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. And I'm rounding up on this matter. Yeah. And in fact, my attention was drawn to the definition of that expression of a lame duck. It doesn't even fit into the context you wanted to use it. I think you would want to just withdraw that.
The lame duck.
Yes. Because this is...
It's like non-functional.
No. Wait.
He knows.
This is an elected official who is approaching the end of the attempt. Especially after a successor has already been elected. I mean, in this context, so we want to withdraw that because you said you said what you said.
But that's exactly what is playing out. Because if the president was functioning, I don't see how his executive secretary is lamenting when he has the stick, he has the whip to crack.
Well, I agree.
Why are they lamentations to the public?
On behalf of the president.
Yes, but the point is that the president cannot just crack the whip. It must be some stages. You are a government.
So you
government must either for a general guide. How is that not the work of the president?
Somebody clearly infringes on the code of conduct. You don't take punitive action.
Yes, but that's a different argument. But that's a different argument.
Chief of staff.
That's a different argument.
What do you mean by it's a different argument?
It's a different argument.
So I'm saying
now you are saying that
from where
the executive secretary calling others who may not be focused on their job to order means that the president himself is decoupled, detached. He has no idea.
Because if it wasn't a worry,
but I've been telling you that the executive secretary speaks and acts on behalf of the president.
I agree.
So this is essentially the voice of the president through the executive secretary. This one.
Why would the president lament? Rather than acting and calling his appointees to order.
There's a quiet danger.
It's a general direction.
Crips, and we'll put it on the
issue the directive that anybody who is interested in contesting the presidency after him should resign.
I'm saying there's a
that was the president you control.
Sometimes
they give a time frame. They give a time frame.
Not with noise, but with whispers. It begins subtly like a conversation here, a suggestion there. Barely a year and a half into this mandate, it is so sobering to reflect on how quickly attention can drift.
That's
the
all.
Conversation, subtle as it may be, in some quarters about succession in 2028, risk arriving before the foundations of recovery have even been firmly laid.
Thank you.
That's the economy.
Where's choosing carefully?
Within the NDC, the internal democratic journey is itself incomplete.
Thank you.
At the most basic level, the party has yet to renew its structures through elections.
Precisely. So he is worried.
He's not
there-
worried.
People
It's a general
are jumping
guide.
the gun
Hold on. From there,
and putting themselves
we'll
out
jump
of the
on the
picture.
consensus.
Who has declared,
What is
who has
playing out?
declared his or her intention?
Nobody has.
Hold on.
But the undercurrents are clear.
Let me finish, because this is
any-
this is
That is the
Objective
mischief.
political
That is the
water.
mischief.
Which mischief?
That's the mischief we are playing.
very
Nobody
much.
has
This
declared
one
his or her
here says-
intention yet.
And
So
he
why is
goes
the
on.
executive secretary writing this letter?
He goes on to say the reset agenda.
That's
that
a good
underpins
anticipation of a leader.
This administration is not indestructible. And look at it. It
Yeah,
says
yeah.
the reset agenda
Yeah.
that underpins this administration is not indestructible.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
a caution.
Yes.
It is fragile.
Yes.
In its early stages.
Thank you.
And depends on
Thank you.
consistency,
Thank you.
discipline,
Thank you.
and collective alignment.
Thank you.
Discipline.
Clearly buttressing
It
my point.
requires
No.
That the man is
those-
worried.
No.
It requires that those entrusted with responsibility act not as individuals advancing separate interests,
Thank you.
but as custodians of a shared national
Thank
project.
you.
To fragment that focus, to reduce it to parochial platforms or emerging factions,
Thank you.
is to place the entire effort at risk.
Risk.
Nations have lost momentum this way before, not through dramatic failure, but through gradual
Thank you.
distraction.
It's certainly.
There's something sobering in recognizing how easily focus can be lost.
Thank you.
Not through crisis, but through premature anticipation.
Thank you.
The question before us is not who leads in 2028.
Thank you.
The question is whether by 2028 we would have delivered enough, done enough, steadied enough to justify the trust that was placed in this administration in 2025.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised you reading this letter upside down.
Okansi. So it's a general call to board appointees, board chairmen, MCs, CEOs, deputies, ministers, deputy ministers, MPs. General call.
Right.
But why would
General
the chief,
call.
why would the executive secretary to the president put out such a letter in the public when there is no basis whatsoever?
But that is a mark of a good leader. You should
That
be able
what?
to anticipate. You must have your ears on the ground. What are you talking about?
Rock. Look, you can kid yourself.
I am not kidding myself.
You can kid yourself.
You are insisting
But
on
our
something.
viewers are discerning.
Please.
We all
Ejapa,
live in this Accra
Ejapa,
camp. We live in
Ejapa,
this
you have
country.
nothing to
We know
hang on. So you are
exactly
looking.
what is happening
You are
within
looking
your
for
party.
trouble where
Thank you,
there's
General.
And
none.
leadership struggle that is rearing its head.
Leadership struggle between
Hence,
amongst
there's
who and who and who and
this
between who and
caution
who.
by the executive secretary that if you guys won't put aside your personal ambition for the common good of delivering on the mandate that was given to us as a party, then we are in for trouble.
Thank
That's
you.
exactly what the man is saying.
Now, Ejapa, did you listen to the president when he was sworn in for the second time? No, in fact, actually for the third time, because the president completed President Mills' term, right? For the third time.
Thank you very much.
On
Yeah,
January
right.
6th. He do a general caution such as this.
He
that this
was sworn in on January 6th.
7th, sorry. Now, he drew a general caution and said that this mandate is to reset the entire nation and that whoever doesn't believe in it shouldn't come in. Anybody who's on board should be focused right from the beginning to the end.
But at that time, he hadn't even made his appointment.
No, yes.
But
it's a
subsequently when he made the
because you see,
appointment,
to accept that appointment,
he is
thank you.
speaking through his executive
So, you see-
secretary.
you see, Ejapa,
that I'm not happy with the
Ejapa,
way some of you
Ejapa,
are behaving.
It takes a good
I'm
leader.
saying
It takes a good
that
leader.
it doesn't
Thank you,
take
gentlemen.
it-
Ejapa, it takes a good leader to
To do what?
To renew.
come and lament?
No, to
When he
renew.
has a power?
To renew.
To do what is needful?
To renew focus
To
in,
lament?
in people
This is
after
pure
18 months.
lamentation.
No, it's not
None of you is
lamentation.
being heard. None of you. Thank you. It's some 13 minutes after 9. We're live as well on 3FM 92.7.
Oh my
Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Also on the Voice of London Radio. Cop from Voice of America VOA says, Alfred, the chief executive of any entity cannot be declared in that particular context if a replacement hasn't been chosen, elected or nominated yet. But the latter part of the definition of who a lame duck is fits into the context of a Japan Mensah's expression. So he's partly right, you say. I equally believe Honorable Dafia Mpo is struggling to defend or ward off the ongoings in their party and government. Thus, what happens when the storm hits one's household? We should not wait for the crisis to hit. These conversations this morning is important and instructive and timely because of what is already brewing and also being played out in many ways. Thank you. This one's from Mansa Musa from the Voice of London Radio says, Alfred, this morning Ejapa Mensah has hit the nail right on the head. There isn't a single sentence in his lamentations that I disagree with. The Executive Secretary's public caution has not arrived out of a vacuum. His caution highlights undercurrent events. Let's call a spade a spade. Good morning, you say, from Mansa Musa. Okay, this one also here says, what is Honorable Ejapa Mensah saying? We are seeing things play out, but these little troubles in which we are today is far, far lesser than the troubles in which we went through under Nana Akufo-Addo's and Bawumia's administration. Kaleo from WA is saying that to you. This one here says, Honorable David Amko is doing the work of Sergio Ramos this morning. Top defender, just give some time. Master Planner Junior, Policy Analyst Kintampo. This one here says, okay, Kotoka Courage in Anglogan Lashibi in the Volta region. He's only sending greetings to you, Honorable David Amko. Thank you very much. This one, Musa Abatwa says, ignore Bobo. You're talking about Ejapa Mensah, so we call him Bobo, because he's doing propaganda to score cheap political points. When it comes to who leads the NDC, we have a solid track record of choosing our leaders in accordance with our constitution and democratic principles. We are not going to be distracted by red herrings, propaganda, or unnecessary brouhaha. The status quo and due process will be respected. At the appropriate time, the delegates of the party will decide and select the right person to lead the party forward. This one here from Dr. Kwame Asante says, good morning, Alfred. The conversation and the angles that you have brought to the matter at play is extremely important this morning. One, helping us to understand exactly how Musa Dankwa came about these NDC delegates, and you put out in quotes, was important. We now know he has their numbers and he calls them. Beyond that as well, in terms of that part of your message wasn't clear, and then you put a dot. I don't know if you wanted to add upon it, but the terminologies used in the polls sometimes have to be explained as well. I don't understand why you put 5% in a bar that explains others. Had it not been for David Ameko asking what the others contain, we wouldn't have known that the others comprise of 19 other people who have been polled and are irrelevant to the 6 that we see their pictures on it. Also, we must all confront the issues as they play out. The symptoms that you have just exhibited this morning in your analysis, even before the conversation started, tells us all that there's one thing clear. The president must act and act decisively. You're saying. Thank you very much. Good morning. Indeed, science must not be devoid of morality and reason. Point is, Musa should have considered that we just emerged from an economic meltdown and now just taking a sigh of relief, and he decided to muddy or even threaten our arrest. He could have waited for this work to be put out in 2027, you say. Thank you very much for your message this morning. Quite a number of them. I'll read them as we go on. Thank you. But we're live as well on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. As I indicated, Kofi Bento had to leave at some point. So he's exhausted his points and then he left. Also, Musa Dankwa has left us. That leads us to our next issue. This week in Parliament, the Speaker came back from an official duty or trip on Monday and said, look, he's surprised at what happened in his absence. that this anti-LGBTQ plus bill was passed into law when he had given specific instructions. Let's take a listen to the Speaker's surprise and then what's happening subsequently. But take a look.
You know the copious instruments and laws on human rights. All over. You have to go through all, from the UN Charter to the African People's Rights and what, all. We have to go through all. Then we have also our development partners who have a lot of contribution to make. We have the United Nations coming in with proposals, some memo and everything. We as Ghanaians also have to dig deeper into our cultures, our customs, our values before we came out with what was passed on Friday. And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me. Because I knew that they were going to start the consideration of the bill. And that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday, and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies, what we're going to see today. And so I knew they wouldn't have completed it. But all of a sudden, I read about this passage. I reacted, and later I saw on TV all the things that happened. And so this evening, I have asked the leaders to meet me in my office. So they will be here for us to go through it. This is such a critical bill that we believe there must be consensus. But it's not about passing bill. It's about implementing it and making sure that it benefits the people.
Subsequent to this, the Speaker made a statement on the floor of Parliament asking that Parliament reconsidered, or at least would consider a reconsideration of other aspects of the bill that was passed by Parliament 2 Fridays ago. How is that possible? Well, Nelson Roxon Daviamapo is Majority Chief Whip. He was in Parliament when this bill was passed into law. And we'll find out from him because the Speaker says he was going to have a meeting with the leadership. He was in that meeting with the Speaker. What exactly happened? What was the conclusion? But this is what the Speaker said Parliament should do going forward. Take a look.
Honourable members, I call on Parliament to rely on the provisions of motions and the conventions of this House to go back to this historic and important bill and reconsider it. The legitimacy, credibility, and enduring authority of any law depend not only on the objectives sought to be achieved, but also in the integrity of the process by which the law is enacted. Procedural law is as equally important as substantive law. What we do here must be able to withstand any legal and constitutional challenges that are sure to come. The bill has from its inception been presented to the nation as a bipartisan legislative initiative. It is therefore my considered view that legislation of this magnitude ought, as far as practicable, to command not merely the numerical support of a majority of members, but also the broad confidence of the House regarding both its substance and the process by which it was adopted. What is right must be done rightly.
The Speaker, Right Honourable Alban Subanakes for Babin there. What is right must be done rightly. Honourable Daviamapo, the Speaker said there was supposed to have been a meeting between you and him as of the Monday night. That meeting happened, correct?
Yes, it did.
And you were in that meeting too?
Yes.
What exactly took place?
Well, I I don't know whether my leadership meeting with Speaker should be a matter that should be discussing.
They didn't resolve the issue at hand?
Yes, we explained. We explained, like we did in conclave, that the clearance was for us to proceed with the bill, the two bills, the community service bill as well as the family values bill. There was one bill that he asked us not to proceed with because he needed to do some bit of work in respect of it, which is the constitutional amendment bill, which was also a private member's bill. Now, apart from the community service bill, the family values bill was a private member's bill. And so once the initial constitutional compatibility test, he himself cleared it.
Right.
Once he said we should proceed, we proceeded. Then he said, okay. So generally, this was how we thought the matter had been resolved.
I see.
Yeah.
But then again, after that meeting with him on Monday night,
Yeah.
he came Tuesday
Yeah.
and said, you should reconsider aspect of this bill
Yeah.
that you passed.
He appealed.
He
He appealed. You have to read the speech.
Yeah.
It
So
was
it
an
was
appeal.
an appeal.
Yes, it was an appeal. And I will explain again. So I brought some evidence.
Okay.
You see, some of these things, it can happen to all of us. The suggestion strongly was that, and I'm choosing my words very carefully. The suggestion was that we didn't comply with Standing Order 172 Rule 1 and 2. Okay, so if you read Standing Order, and Bobo, we crafted this, so if Bobo may read this, for all of us.
Okay.
Then I'll demonstrate how we comply.
He has a terrible eyesight. So.
I don't. It's just for the discussions.
So third reading of bills. That's the
That's the head note.
heading. So 1722, upon a motion, quote, that the bill be now read the third time, end quote. Any member may move an amendment to delete the words read the third time and to insert the word rejected, and to move a reasoned amendment stating the object and motive on which the opposition to the bill is based.
Right.
But the motion must be strictly relevant to the bill.
Okay, so one.
Where a bill has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading shall not be taken
Yeah.
until at least one sitting day has elapsed.
Okay. So this was the old man's complaint that it appears we didn't comply
With that.
with dates, but we did. Now, when we were done with the consideration, we indicated that because there was some pressure, and the pressure was from the opposition, the minority. If you recall, they held a lot of press conferences saying that we were not committed to actually leaving the legislation,
Right.
and that we had departed from our position before the elections, the promises that we gave the nation that we were committed and then we passed the legislation. We have deceived the people. It brought a lot of pressure to bear on the party that formed the government and the government itself. The president recommitted himself to the clergy and said that if Parliament passes this bill, I will sign. Last year, this year, he again met them and recommitted himself. The Speaker himself, on several occasions, committed himself. In fact, in opening the second meeting, this very meeting for 2020, he said, this bill will be passed this meeting. My leader, the Honorable Ayariga, when he was giving us a welcome address like is customary, indicated that contrary to some opposition views to the bill, This was a bipartisan bill sponsored by 6 minority members of parliament and 4 majority members of parliament. 10. And as a result, there is no disagreement. And so the bill will be dealt with expressly. What happened? It had been read the first time, and the rendition of a brief explanatory memoranda was rendered by Intim Fojo, who in this case is the lead sponsor, supported by Sam George and Pedra. And to ensure that it was a bipartisan bill, another member from our side also was called upon to give a supplementary explanatory memorandum. And after that, it was referred to the Constitutional Legal Affairs Committee. And for the sake of all the issues, the leadership of now we have a new committee, the Human Rights Committee. Mm-hmm. The leadership of that committee was also called upon to join the Constitutional Legal Committee to consider.
I see.
We held a lot of stakeholder engagements. Mm-hmm. All the people who brought memos, they came to defend. And as part of the consideration, he knows we will serve on the same committee. When you do stakeholder engagements and they bring up issues and suggestions and they find favor with the committee, they are incorporated into the report to plenary. But what you do is that when those suggestions go to the terms of the bill, you recommend them as amendments, proposed amendments. So they are exhibited to the report. And this will all happen when the report came. So the report was taken on Thursday before the Friday. So after the report was laid, debated and adopted, mm-hmm. the proposed amendments from the committee ought to be advertised on the order paper.
Okay.
And it wasn't on the order paper for the Thursday. Right. So we actually went to consideration, but it had to be deferred to Friday. And when at consideration, when the amendments are not many and they are not contentious, they are done expressly. Because then they are not contentious. If there is an amendment sponsored by the committee, they are expressly done because debates often do not arise. So you take them quickly. The only one that generated the contention was in respect of clause 9, which were the 8 advertised proposed amendment, 8 of them. Mm-hmm. Now at plenary, the opposition was such that it was abandoned. So the Honorable Dr. Yaweduchum, and then the Honorable Mie, Yaweduchum, former education minister, and Mie, my brother from, I forgot his constituency, but it's from Odotobri. Yes. So, Mie Odotobri?
Yeah, he
Mie
replaced.
is from.
So, yeah, I think
north,
that's...
So. I thought it's Tony Mie. Tony Mie is the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not from the north. It's an Ashanti region MP.
No, Mie.
So there's
Tony.
Kabiru, there's Asafua, there's...
Okay, yes, okay. So, they made further, we call it further proposed amendments. Mm-hmm. So, they said that 3 out of the 8 be dropped. So this further proposed amendment was supported by the Vice Chairman of the committee, the Honorable Ayaga himself, and then the Honorable Suhini.
I see.
So then this new amendment became sponsored by these 5 members of parliament. And that was all we carried. What were these amendments? Not to criminalize the work of lawyers. If somebody is alleged to have been an LGBT operative or practitioner and is facing charges in court, a lawyer should be able to go defend.
Certainly.
How do you expect that we criminalize the work of a lawyer? It would not even stand the test of constitutionality in any court.
Muslim Madras have counsel to represent them.
Good. Even if you go and execute somebody and you catch somebody with a human head dripping with blood, he has a right to it.
Well, that's part of the 31 amendment that the NPP says.
No, let me see. You see, the
says.
31, the bill itself is a 19-clause bill. So how can you say they have introduced 31 amendments? You see, some of the amendments, you can have clause 1. you can have as many as 5 amendments.
Yeah.
In respect of just clause 1 alone.
Yes.
What are you amending? Sometimes, you say there's some
all of
article.
that has diluted the
It has not. So
effectiveness of the bill.
So I am.
this is a
Hold on.
watered-down
I,
bill.
I
That's what
am.
they say.
I am making it. I'm demonstrating how this new legislation is actually better than what came to Parliament.
The first
Because,
one.
sorry,
The first one.
not even the first one. The bill, as the sponsors have brought it. I'm telling you that the bill, as the sponsors brought it this time, this is a better version of what came.
What
And
has
that-
been passed.
Yes, because you see, that's how Parliament is supposed to work. When you bring a bill, it's a proposal.
I see.
You can't say that the content of a bill that you bring to Parliament must never be touched or amended. Then what's the essence of bringing the bill for purposes of Parliament? The enactment is when the clauses in the bill are considered one after the other. And I want to make this point. So we also excluded or exempted the work of doctors. When somebody is engaged in this and decides to seek medical attention, a doctor's professional treatment of the person shouldn't be criminalized.
So was it the case that in the previous one there was that criminalization,
No,
or not? That's what existed.
no, we just reference it to subject to the Constitution. Now, when it says subject to the Constitution, you must have to go and strung out what are the constitutional rights and freedoms to be able to do the subject to the Constitution. So the Honorable
That was
Mama Yariga says that.
laborious.
Thank you, because in legislation there must be clarity, because especially when you are creating penal legislation, there must be clarity as to what
So they
constitutes
say that
an
if,
offense.
if all of this was good then,
Yeah.
why did you not make those amendments in the first instance and you wanted Akufo-Addo to sign?
Now, let me tell you why. Because as for Parliament, when you bring legislation, and Tim Fojo was also part of the first one, did he oppose at the end of the day when we did consideration in respect of the bill that came before the 8th Parliament? What were his position on those that were retained until passage?
From a perspective of cynicism, I was asking myself,
Yeah.
so these committee members who are MPP,
Yeah.
were they part in setting a trap for their president then?
No, if you recall, one of the issues, that was why we
You didn't get my question.
No, I did.
It is in response to what Alfred asked.
Yes.
That Tim Fojo
Yeah.
was part of the previous
Yes.
one. And
Let me tell you.
He didn't see
no,
those
no.
things that...
Perhaps they saw it. So if you recall, Apeno Makin, there's a video about Apeno Makin in 2024 lamenting that why should work of lawyers and those things be
Exempted.
no, it appears to have been criminalized because in that legislation we said subject to the Constitution. So it made it a bit laborious. So if you recall, that was why Richard Sky went to court to actually stop Parliament from passing the legislation. And the Supreme Court on the 18th of December 2024 said, no, you cannot stop Parliament in its tracks in carrying out its legislative functions. You have to wait. So the action was premature, sort of. You ought to wait. When the legislation is enacted and assented to, that is when it becomes effective. Then you can attack it on grounds of constitutionality. But after that, it's politics. The president refused to sign between 18th and 6th of January, 18th December and 6th of January. There was some time, but he just thought that he's had enough. Do you understand? So, upon hindsight, the Honorable Yariga said, no. If these were the concerns at the time, then let's do a better job and strung out the subject to the Constitution clearly. So professionals, a journalist doing his work, trying to
So this
dispassionately...
lawyers, journalists, doctors, researchers,
Thank you.
public health organizations.
From criminal
Yes.
liability.
Yes. Yes.
Then, yes, I mean, these are...
Yes, these ones. So initially there were 8. But like I said, those 5 members of Parliament now sponsored these amendments
I see.
to create these exemptions. And it was carried by the House. And then we made progress and concluded and dealt with the rest of the amendments, and we were done.
In Tim Fojo says that what was passed was not what the bill he sponsored.
But my question is, you are not the only sponsor of the bill. Even if you are the only sponsor of the bill, when you sponsor a bill and it comes to Parliament, in Team Fojo cannot say that the terms of the bill that I brought, nobody should tinker with it. You do understand what I'm saying? Nobody should touch it, and the Parliament should pass it. Then it's a rubber stamp Parliament. But I've been asking him, the Reverend, in the 8th Parliament, the subject to the Constitution, we were told that we had done a poor job. So the matter went to court. But what the Supreme Court didn't do was to say that, okay, let's, you know, they can say that this is a constitutional matter, so let's have it stood down, let the bill be done, then you can spring up the matter. But they declared it as premature. So if Richard Sky had gone back on the 19th of December, I don't know the fate of what would have happened to the bill, which eventually didn't go anywhere anyway. So when you return to Parliament with clearly the same legislation, the same bill, technically speaking, it was our duty to pay attention to some of the criticisms of the months before.
I see.
And have regard to how to really ensure that it passed the constitutionality test. So anybody should ask me or should tell me that exempting the works of this category of professionals is rather unconstitutional.
Well, you see,
or rather waters down the bill as the language they want to use.
Reference has been made to your leader and
Yes.
your boss in Parliament, Mahama Yariga's statement that, in fact, he didn't even have a problem with the previous bill in its form.
Yes.
And that he would support that bill that was not assented to by President Kufuor
Yes.
to be given to President
And I
Mahama.
support him.
You support?
And I'll tell you.
So
that
bill did not have these amendments, right?
You see, don't mix the arguments.
What's the
Mahama Yariga says, constitutionally speaking, when Parliament passes a legislation without issues, in fact, in the House, that is the product from Parliament. Now, the constitutionality test it belongs to another forum. So when Parliament says the bill is read the third time and passed, and it is prepared, cleaned up, prepared, and presented to the President in consonance with the constitutional stipulations, Parliament's work is done. We become functus officio until the President, under the Constitution, until in 107 or 108, denies assent and returns the bill to the House with some recommendations, then that is where Parliament's mandate will be rekindled to take a second look, and we are obliged under law to consider the proposal from the presidency, incorporate it into the bill, pass it, and that's all. That one, it doesn't even go back for an assent.
Is Parliament obliged to take on board the recommendations of the presidency?
Yes, under the
Obliged.
Constitution. Yes.
But you see, the most important question amongst the many that I've asked now is the Speaker is.
Yes. So let me come. No, let me come to the Speaker. Now, the point the Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, made was that it appears that we didn't comply with Order 172 Rule 1. But the evidence suggests that I moved the motion.
Absolutely.
That notwithstanding the requirement that when a bill passes through consideration stage, it cannot be taken through the third reading unless 2 sitting days or 1 parliamentary sitting days elapses. I move that the bill be now read the third time and passed. That is leave. If you read our standing orders, it's very clear. That is leave. You seek leave of the House. So it's a waiver. So we waive that we sought that leave, it was granted.
I see.
And then, we had the bill read the third time.
So there's going to be no room for reconsideration, as the Speaker
Now, reconsideration, it's an appeal by the Speaker. But like my leader said, the bill is, because there's no requirements, there's no provision for reconsideration. Unless you are asking that a motion of rescission, motion or notice for rescission, because it's a motion that we move to have it pass the third time. That motion is a decision of the House. So to reverse the decision of the House, there has to be a motion or notice for rescission of a resolution passed by the House. Now that motion must be moved and seconded. Debate may arise before we vote on it. When we take the vote and it succeeds, then the motion to have the bill passed the third time is then vacated, and then the bill will now be brought back to to consideration for what we call second consideration. So it's quite technical, it's quite procedural.
I see. That's he raises procedural matters as well. That
I'm saying that the basis for the call we had actually complied with it.
I see. So there's no room for reconsideration. The bill has been passed. Parliament, it won't come back to you. You are looking for it to be forwarded.
Well, it's an appeal that is made to the House, and when the appeal came, we've since been suspended because of the conference. So we'll be back on Tuesday. The House will take a decision.
Favor in the eyes of the majority leadership?
I doubt, because you see, being the chief whip, look, the propaganda out there, I'm hurt by it. Because this was a bill that we are so committed to. And so it will feed into a certain propaganda that, you see, even when the bill passed, they are still trying to find a way to bring it back. They are prolonging it. All those things is hurting the party's credibility, is hurting the government. Technically speaking, we have followed every procedure to the letter.
So the appeal by the Speaker will not be considered.
The House will make that decision.
But you just told me that you.
I'm saying the House will make that decision. It's an appeal to the House. If the House agrees, and the Speaker himself knows that decision lies with the House. If the House says yes, fine. If the House says no.
But you have just told me about the effect of the propaganda and so on. So if it comes back, that's
yes, because my leader has already said. You see, he's the leader of the House. He says that as for the bill, we have passed it, and so he thinks that we should make progress.
No room for reconsideration in the midst of order. That's just.
Well, Roxanne is, to a very large extent, right. If you look at the procedure for lawmaking or the processes, it has been completely exhausted. And so to that extent, if they are minded to, as it were, reject the Speaker's request, it's within their bosom to do so. Because, as I'm sure you know, the Speaker is not a member of Parliament. He only presides over the affairs of Parliament to ensure order and, procedural compliance and all that. And so that's why he couldn't make an order to, as it were, set aside the decision that the Parliament had taken. He only made an appeal that because this itself was a motion that was moved, he's making an appeal for the rules of motion to be adopted to, as it were, rescind the decision of Parliament so that it can go through another consideration or second consideration before subsequent passage. I'm not a member of Parliament, and so it's not within my bosom to make any comment on that as to what decision that they will take when they resume sitting on Tuesday, I believe. You see, I agree that in principle, we all as a people have unanimously agreed that this emerging Western culture of LGBTQ++ cannot find space within our society. Okay, and so we are all committed in passing this bill into law. Indeed, during the 8th Parliament, the bill was passed by a unanimous decision.
True.
The entire, both sides of the House unanimously passed the bill.
You were in Parliament?
Yeah, I was in Parliament at the time. In fact, I was a member of the committee, the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee with him. It's the politics of the Richard Sky decision to go to court, and the resultant cease and desist letter that the executive secretary of the president at the time wrote, that our friends played with it, that took away the unanimity of the law. Okay, because whether you agree or not, the letter that His Excellency the President's Executive Secretary wrote at the time shouldn't have been played the way our friends played. Okay, it's not as if to say they submitted the bill to him, to the president for signature. If you look at the text of Nana Asante Bidiotu's letter, it was clear that in his absence, it had come to his notice that this bill, which is being challenged in court, was attempted to be delivered to the presidency. And so because of the pending action, hold off. Let the court make a determination before we take it from there. But they weaponized it, played politics with it, and made it look as if to say the MPP members of parliament who together with them had passed the bill were the same people who were not interested in approving or assenting to the legislation, which clearly was not the case. We all saw the commentary, we lived through it. Now you come into government, and after 1 year, people didn't see the urgency that the president had committed to the Christian community, the Islamic clerics, and the entirety of Ghana, that the bill was going to be one that was of priority to him. We didn't see any action. And indeed, and in fact, when the president met the Catholic bishops this year, he said that the LGBTQ plus bill was not a priority for his administration. So people were worried. Yeah, he said that. Indeed, and in fact, he had committed that rather than it being a private member's bill, he was going to make it a public bill. 1 year down the line of his administration, we were not seeing any traction. So it was good that the private members who had promoted it during the 8th Parliament then took it upon themselves to resubmit it to Parliament. That said, barring the issues that came up last week post the passage of the bill, I sat on this very studio last Monday and said that I was prepared to give the bill or the Parliament the benefit of the doubt, okay? In that, as far as I'm concerned, and at the time I hadn't seen the text of the final bill. I still haven't seen it. Because the object really was to cure a certain mischief right from the very beginning, which was to the effect that Ghana was not going to accept LGBTQ plus activity in any shape or form in our country. And so if the bill as passed met the criteria of the mischief that we sought to cure, and it indeed cured it, I was prepared to give them the benefit of the doubt. But when the president made a comment in London, I got worried. And subsequently, when the speaker came up with this request, I got worried that is the government seeking to play games with the people of Ghana?
What do you mean?
Because, you see, what did the president mean by the bill is nowhere close to being passed or to becoming law? And that when he receives it, he is now going to subject it to legal advice by his Attorney General and potentially Council of State, when he had committed right from the very beginning, in fact, even when he was in opposition, that the very day that the bill lands on his table, he's going to sign it. And we've seen it. Many bills that have been passed that they've done, media engagement in the full glare of the public, president assenting to those bills. So to suggest that we are nowhere near there, for me, was worrying. It suggested to me that the president was speaking at cross purposes, that when he's in Ghana, he makes commitments to the people of Ghana regarding his commitment to the law, and when he goes outside the jurisdiction of Ghana, he plays to the international media in a different text. Because otherwise, what would be the basis when your Attorney General is a member of Parliament who ordinarily should have participated in the deliberations on the floor? Indeed, and in fact, Parliament has a legal directorate that goes through this private members' bills to ensure that it passes all the constitutional tests before it goes through the motions. So why would the president be suggesting that we are nowhere close to the execution of the bill? Because and you hear the speaker now saying that go back and reconsider it. So it created a certain sense that it is games that they want to play. And I will urge the president that if he is not intended on playing games with the people of Ghana, he should execute the bill so we all get to see the text, whether indeed and in fact the allegation by the minority that this is a watered down bill is actually the case, or that indeed it meets the test that the good people of Ghana were promised, that this bill or the law that has been passed clearly seeks to deal with the mischief of preventing LGBTQ+. But of course, I've seen some of the amendments from the 2024 bill and the 2021 bill and the 2025 bill. Some of the sanctions that were contained in the 2021 bill has clearly been watered down in the 2025.
You say watered down. What do you mean?
Okay, some of the tenure sentences have been reduced. The punishment for the offenses have been reduced from
Because
some 1 to 5 years
was that
to
it was too
1 to 3 years and all of that. So like I said, I'm prepared to wait so that we all interrogate the bill to see whether it really has bite as was rightfully intended, or that it has been something that has been done purely to achieve a certain political end without necessarily curing the mischief of anti-LGBTQ that we as a people have committed we don't want.
You see, Dr. Sanchoche, quickly on this.
Alfred. Yeah. In fact, I just noticed that my brother Jepamesa, he didn't want to do politics with it, but some of the issues are very political. You see, at this point in time, benefit of hindsight, the MPP would not want to have that tag behind them, right? And then the NDC also have to be seen that they are forthright about this particular issue. And so I look at the strategy that everybody is adopting. But if it is a matter of commitment, I think that for a president to even lose a doctorate, an honorary doctorate, because of his position on LGBTQ means that that person is a bit more committed. The court issue, the matter getting to court, desist, cease and desist, I mean, we had all of those things. Obviously, perception-wise, everybody would think that the president was not that committed. And of course, Ghanaians read in between the lines and they decided to punish, the previous government for that. But I want to look at it from a different perspective, especially from the speaker's perspective, and then that of the leadership of the House. Honorable, do you think that the call by the speaker is not to question your competency? You see, if the query of the speaker is construed as a questioning of the competency in terms of their standing orders and other things, then I can see a pushback from the leadership of the House, especially the majority side. Although this is a man I highly respect because of his principled position. So if they are likely to bend, then certainly it will be after some kind of competent or above the ladder, reasoning of a sort that will call for that consideration. We all make mistakes. So maybe if on the blind side there was a step that, but it appears that's
what I've just asked. The Honorable Dafia have brought on. It says nothing procedural was done wrongly. They did everything that they had to do right. So whatever procedure that led to the passage of the bill last 2 weeks Friday, there's no question about that. So the procedural matter that the Speaker raised, and in fact, because the Honorable Ijapa Mensah quoted the President, I want us to take a listen to exactly what the President said, right? So that we put it in the right context. Take a look.
Considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said, when I was the opposition leader, the President has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent. And so once the President gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament. And so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the Presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the President is advised to assent. The President has another option if there are that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the President, and so they will take a look at it, and then they will advise the President. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the President would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes law.
So that's the President there, in reference to what you said, because there are a number of things that he talked about in context. Says there's a matter of quorum,
I don't think there should be any
passage.
The quorum and lapses issue have been addressed by Honorable Dofie Amapo right here in the studio.
Yes.
As far as Parliament is concerned, they followed the law fully and passed the legislation. And the good people of Ghana will expect that when it gets to his desk, it cannot be the case that the President is suggesting that he has not seen. He has not seen.
He's rehashing the same.
He has not seen the text.
But he outlines two options because he says this is a private member's bill.
It can't be. The President cannot suggest.
His Attorney General advised him or the Council of State.
Can I respond?
He has not seen the text of this bill.
It can never be. It cannot be that the President.
It can never be. It can never be that his Attorney General is not privy to the text of this bill. It can never be that his majority leader, who sits in cabinet with him, is not privy to the text of this bill. There is no tarrying that is required when the bill reaches his desk. Because if they do, it will only suggest that the President is buying time and is certainly not committed to the passage of the bill into law. When it gets to his desk, he has to sign it. That is his commitment to the people of Ghana. And that's what we expect him to do.
Let's see.
Okay. So, you see, let's put these matters in some context. This is the votes and proceedings from Parliament on Thursday, May 28th. That day, we laid the report of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. So, item number B on motion number under presentation of papers. So we laid the report of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs on the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025. It was laid by the member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs, James Agalga. So the first Deputy Speaker, who had then taken the chair, directed that copies be distributed to members.
Okay.
Now, later in the day, Speaker came to take the seat and withdrew from the chair at 4:10 p.m. First Deputy Speaker came back. So I moved motion number 11 that notwithstanding the provision of Order 104 Rule 1 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given, the motion for the second reading of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 may be moved today. Moved by myself, that's Majority Chief Whip member, blah, 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 on behalf of the following sponsors. So we listed all the sponsors. The motion was seconded by the member for Dotobri, Honorable Anthony Mie. So, question put, motion agreed to. So we debated the report. That was the motion to debate the report. Now, motion number 12, that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill be now read a second time, because the first motion was to seek for the waiver.
Okay.
For the waiver of the 2 sitting parliamentary days to elapse. So it was agreed to. The leave was granted.
Okay.
So the motion number 12 was now for me to move that we do the second reading, which is the debating of the principles. So again, I move, the motion was that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill be now read a second time. I so move. And then it was seconded by, because it was a procedural motion, the Honorable Member for Tema West, who is also the Vice Chairman of the committee, James Enu, presented the committee's report.
Okay.
Question proposed, debate arising, question put, a motion agreed to. So when you see it briefly like this, it took like 1 hour.
I see.
After the debate. Now, motion number 13, that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 accordingly is now read the second time. Motion number 14, that and motion number 13 is taken after the long debate, the ding-dong on the floor. Now, motion number 14, that notwithstanding the provision of Order 169 Rule 1 of the Standing Orders, which requires that when a bill has been read a second time, the bill shall pass through a consideration stage, which shall not be taken until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed. The consideration stage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 may be taken today, which was that Thursday.
I see.
Moved by me and on behalf again of the sponsors. Motion was seconded by the member for Odotobri, Anthony Mie, again. Question put and motion agreed to. So waiver granted.
Okay.
So
there's no matter, there's no procedural.
No, this are,
okay.
I'm taking you through the procedures.
I see.
So listen. So
Like,
that Thursday, item number 15, Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill at consideration stage. So we deferred consideration because we had not advertised amendments on the order paper. We could have done so through addendum, but it was also late. If you remember, as soon as we did the second reading, the minority was saying that pass it now, pass it now. The video exists. So if we were really minded, we could have passed the bill into law that Thursday night.
So were there any lapses in the passage?
I'm reading the rules
There were no
to you.
lapses.
We have followed the terms
So
clearly.
essentially, he is confirming that the president's information was wrong.
No. So let me tell you, where the president came in with quorum issue was by the press conference your colleagues held to allege that we didn't even have quorum.
Yes.
This is
references.
yes. This is
Was there quorum?
Thursday's votes and proceedings. Members of Parliament, for the records, we were 187 when we laid the report, debated it, adopted it, moved to consideration. 187. On Friday, when we did further consideration, concluded and did the third reading, we were 193.
And all present in Parliament?
Why? Present in Parliament, what does
In
it?
the chamber?
Hold on, please. There's a decisional quorum and there's a commencement quorum. In Parliament, members come and go. It's fluid. But for the record, because to tackle quorum, to raise the issue of quorum, it's about the record. And I've given you the record of members in Parliament for Thursday and the record of members in Parliament for Friday.
100 and what? 90?
193.
90. 3.
So I killed that quorum gendarme right there. I think last Friday.
No, but I was a bit worried.
Yes.
Technically.
Because it was a press. You know, as a president, he's also interested. When they raise the issues, naturally he will be concerned. But as soon as I put the figures out, that if you recall, they haven't raised that quorum matter ever since I counted it with the figures.
I see.
Now the other thing they have counted is the watered down. As for the watered down expression, they have stuck to it. I have also demonstrated that if my boss Ayariga's master stroke of strangling out is subject to the constitution to say that lawyers work, doctors work, journalists work, men in academia's work be exempted when they are doing their. That is why everything is about intent. So when you are a journalist, you set out to actually promote and advocate for LGBT spread, you will not be caught by the exemption. I think that is the debate people are also not making. The exemption is for your professional work, in the course of your normal professional work. When the journalistic work, the legal work, the medical work, the academic work departs from the normal course of your work, then the exemption will spare you.
But the president is telling you that if this bill comes before him, he has options.
Now let me answer that. Let me answer that. When the president said the bill is far from becoming a law, I think that is about language. Because in our standing orders, we have introduced what we call post-passage cleanup. In parliaments before, there have been evidence that in the chaotic stage of consideration, delete, amend, you know, is the drafters who capture it. There's been some discovery later on that some amendments were actually not properly carried. Or even where the word is supposed to be located in syntax, that's the structure of the sentence, is being interposed. So we had to come back with further amendments. And Honorable Chairman was very good with this thing. So he introduced this post-passage scrutiny, that when a bill is passed by Parliament, we shouldn't rush and take it to the president. The drafting office should now sit down and certify clause by clause, provision by provision, that the amendments as advertised, as carried truly by the House, actually reflects in the bill. So it's under Order 175.1, authentication and certification of bills.
Okay.
You understand?
But that's so before it gets to the
president. Hold on. You know, the legal education bill suffered this. Because it was quite voluminous. We were told that we were not committed.
The president says if this comes to him, he would seek the Attorney General's advice.
Yes, and again, that is the law. Listen, Order 176.1, presidential assent reference Article 1067 to 11 of the Constitution and consideration by Council of State. Article Order 176 Rule 1. A bill passed by Parliament shall be presented to the President for assent, and the President shall signify to the Speaker within 7 days after the presentation that the President assents to the bill or refuses to give assent unless the bill has been referred to the President by the President to the Council of State under Article 90 of the Constitution. This is a constitutional, we just lifted it verbatim. 2. Where the President refuses to assent to a bill, the President shall, within 14 days after the refusal, state in a memorandum to Speaker any specific provisions of the bill which, in the opinion of the President, should be reconsidered by Parliament, including recommendations for amendment, if any. Or B, inform the Speaker that the bill has been referred to the Council of State for consideration and comments, or that the Council is considering the bill. 3. The Speaker shall, on receipt of the recommendations of the President, refer the memorandum to the relevant committee which originally dealt with the bill, and the committee shall reconsider the bill in accordance with the recommendations of the President and report to the House within 14 days after the referral.
Okay.
B. Parliament shall reconsider the bill taking into account the report of the committee and the comments made by the President or the Council of State. 5. Where a bill reconsidered under this order is passed by Parliament by resolution.
Are you suggesting that the President would use legalese to delay the execution?
It's not about legal. You see, I am taking the mischief.
When they hit his table,
I'm taking the mischief from your position. That when the President suggested, Ejapa, This gendarme won't fly today.
What gendarme?
Gendarme. You know the constitution. You are my senior. You know that these are procedures provided under law. That is why the criticism against Nana Akufo-Addo is that why is it that even if you had reservations, you didn't use this constitution?
But he didn't say he had any reservations.
But the man said had reservations.
He had which reservations?
Didn't he have reservations? If a bill comes before you refuse to sign,
He didn't, the bill never got to his desk.
In the executive secretary's letter,
The bill,
last
as a
time,
matter of fact,
listen,
never got
Japan,
to President Akufo-Addo's desk.
It did.
It did not.
It did.
You see,
It did. Let me say this for the record.
He has argued that
No.
it is not possible for the president currently not to be aware of the bill.
Let me.
So then it means that when President Akufo-Addo used that deceased and whatever, he knew the content.
But the matter was in court.
Can I finish?
I don't have a problem.
Can I finish?
I'm saying you may disagree.
Do you know that per the records, that letter came to Parliament before Richard Sky went to court?
I don't know.
I know because I filed for mandamus. If you recall, I applied for mandamus to compel him to sign. The High Court said I should abide the outcome of the Supreme Court decision, which was natural. So 19th, I wanted to go back to Kobe when the euphoria of victory, so I didn't go. So I am saying that what the President, His Excellency John Dramani has said is borne out by this procedure.
I see.
And in the month, and he has just 7 days.
And he's not creating any impression that he's dilly-dallying.
No.
At first, that is what I thought.
You understand?
But
He has
now
7
that
days.
I've realized
And so,
that
7
this
days
quorum
and
thing was
counting.
not the case.
Gentlemen,
I was
7
getting
days
a
and
bit
counting.
agitated.
You see,
by
the
technicality.
MPP were shocked by the courage that we had to do this expressly without further delay.
How so?
Because there's another was that we were not committed, we were delaying, we had deceived the people. Now we are past the.
But it's taking you 18 months.
18 for your own legislation you brought to Parliament. We are passed it to say hey, you are upset.
How is he upset?
He is upset.
That what?
What could have motivated the
Gentlemen,
position
thank
of the
you.
minority?
It's propaganda, politics.
All right.
They are nothing. So they must look for something.
Deviated entirely from the members of the committee.
Yes.
Who are equally, MPP. That's what we.
It's the courage we have to do this.
Okay, gentlemen.
That is their problem.
So in the next 7 days,
But the bill was passed in 2024.
Did you sign? Did you sign?
But the parliament,
It died with the eighth parliament.
the eighth
Your point.
parliament did its job.
It died with it.
It was the executive.
That is why nobody blames
Yes,
Parliament.
this execution-
The blame is on the president.
So why are you saying that the
You-
minority members were shocked?
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
no, I mean this time.
But why are they shocked? Because
They
they
are shocked.
promoted the bill.
But you brought the bill and you are accusing me of delaying. Now I have delivered.
So do
Thank
you think that
We're done.
Speaker's decision could have been because of
Dr. Santiochi,
the
thank you.
minorities?
Your microphone
You know,
is-
Speaker has always been talking about
There's
bipartisan
7 days
consultation
that
and all that.
Honorable Dr. references you'll see in Article 106
Yes.
of the 1992 Constitution. As you find it on 3 News.
Ejapa, find another
This
thing to let's talk.
It's key point.
This one
live
they
on
don't fly.
3FM 92.7. As always, my outfit is by Kogra Clothing. Is the best version of you. You can call Kogra for this and many others you see me wearing on Saturday mornings on Key Point on 026 055 8056. 026 055 8056. That is 026 055 8056 for Kogra Clothing. Also, this morning, as always, Key Point is proudly brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and GASEM, the nation builder. This morning, Bank of Africa is saying to you that activate your dormant account with Bank of Africa. Enjoy our refreshed products and services, including our enhanced SME support facility, the dollar debit card, credit card, and more. You may also update your account at any Bank of Africa branch with your Ghana card. Kindly reach or call them on 0302 429 333,
Why you never tell me?
0302 249 690. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Also, let me tell you about the National Petroleum Authority, NPA. This July, Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference 2026 on the theme Building a Resilient Downstream Policy Innovation and Investment for Growth. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will be the distinguished guest of honor. Speakers include Honorable Dr. John Abdullahi Jenapo, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Godwin Etuji Tamaklo, CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Patrick Kofori, CEO of Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, and Dr. Rivers Senopon, CEO of Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. It's at July 16 to 17, 2026, 8 a.m. each day. Venue is Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The event will be climaxed with the Downstream Awards and Gala Night happening on July 18 at 6 p.m. at Kempisi Gold Coast Hotel in Accra. That's National Petroleum Authority. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. The National Disaster Management Organization is joining us. We have the 4 Saturdays in the month of June. We're going to be touching on matters of floods. This morning, we have already had notice of flash floods at some parts of the capital because of the rains earlier this morning, and it's not looking good. So, the director of operations of NADMO is going to be joining us in the studio. He's fully dressed, ready for action. In fact, he was on the field, and we called him to come into the studio. So he's joining us after this quick break. Stay with us.
The Key Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the Middle Belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
The Key Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
Come back to the Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world on 3news.com. Evans Ibn Samba Laura, Southern Burkina Faso, says, please, so has the nation just come to agree in a hurry that Honorable Afenyomakin's verified account was compromised? Well, this is in connection with the LGBTQ matters and what we were talking about earlier. Thank you. Hardy from Pig Farm says the NPP MPs previously led the debate and joined those criticizing President Mahama for refusing to sign the bill. Now that the bill has been passed and is waiting President Mahama's assent, the same NPP MPs and their supporters have turned around and are asking Ghanaians to reject it. What kind of double standard is this, you say? Thank you very much. This one here, also from Francis, says, good morning. I hear the president already given us indication of what could be done or would be resorted to if the bill comes before him. He would definitely seek Attorney General's advice and that of the Council of State, as the law requires of him. What happens next is one to watch. The coming days, you say, is pregnant. Thank you very much for your messages. This morning, there were floods already because of the rains that we experienced earlier this morning. Joining us in the studio, and he's just coming from the grounds, Mr. Richard Amuyate is Director of Inspectorate Unit at the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. Amuyate, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. You are fully suited.
Thank you. Ready.
Very ready.
But
what's your assessment of the impact of the rains this morning?
Let me start by saying good morning to my fellow panelists, and good morning to your viewers, and then good morning to my Director General and all NADMO officers who, as I speak now, are on the field assessing the situation to determine the next line of action. So we are ready.
I see. No.
Yeah, this morning, it's the usual. It's been drizzling throughout the night. Mm-hmm. We've had no distress calls, but then we are still monitoring the situation, and we don't expect anything apart from the flash floods, if it should be worse, that we have been experiencing in the last few days.
So what some of us experience is not drizzle, it's rain. It rained. I mean...
It depends on which area. You know, it's not the same across.
From at least from Medina, Adenta coming to this place, Kanda, these areas. That's what I can speak to, right? From Adenta, Medina, down here. From parts of Nungwa as well coming.
No, I am saying this because the intensity is not as high as it was on the 3rd of June.
Okay.
And then as we speak now, we have not received any distress calls. Our EOCs are all alert. No distress calls have come in. Our operation men are also on the field so that they'll be closer to any distress call that may come in.
With the communication and your collaboration with the Ghana Meteorological Agency, is this the kind and the pattern of rainfall we're going to be experiencing from throughout the month of June into July? The main rainy season, what we experienced on the 3rd of June?
Yeah, the outlook as given to NADMO at the beginning of the year indicated that around this time we'll be experiencing a lot of rainfall. Yeah.
I see. So we should be expecting more.
We should be expecting. The only thing is that, like we all say, climate change has changed the patterns. So when you expect rains, you don't get it when you don't expect it. Yeah, but then, like I said, we're always ready. And then consistently, morning, evening, we are alerted on the weather situation. Mm-hmm. And then intermittently, if any issue comes up, we're also alerted. So we are working very closely with the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
I see. But if what we experienced on 3rd of June, those 2 instances of rainfall, so there was one earlier in the evening, around 5 p.m., 5 to about 7, then from 9 p.m. to about 1 to 2 a.m. thereabout. If that's what we should be expecting throughout the month, then that's serious. That's going to be...
The figures we received from the Ghana Meteorological Agency I think it was around 54, 58 millimeters as received from sources in the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Sometimes, because it rained continuously for 2-3 days, that is why we experienced the flash floods that we did. Because by the third day of rainfall, the grounds were already saturated, and it makes infiltration extremely low. And then with the kind of intensity it was pouring, the flash floods were expected. But like few hours after the rains, the levels receded, and the streets and everything, what was left with was cleaning the debris and all that. So, yes, we are working closely with the Ghana Meteorological Agency, and we take their warnings seriously, and we move.
I want us to see. You see, let's put that on the screen. That. Look at this. This is flood waters. That's just no. Let's go back. The flood waters that has submerged a whole building. Yeah. This is the lakeside. This is the lakeside, I say, and this is an area that floods almost every year. Lakeside. Yeah. Have you assessed the situation there?
Like I always say, when it comes to controlling the floods and ensuring that it is the flooding itself is mitigated. No, we have agencies, technical agencies that are responsible for all the things that have to be done in terms of the drains and all that. But then NADMO is always ready to ensure that the people are safe and then the people are protected.
Yeah,
when it occurs.
I see, but there's another one. There's another video. This Otojo area or something like that.
Yeah, like I'm saying, all these videos point to flooding. And then these floods have to be controlled by some agencies.
Yes.
They have to do the work to ensure that these floodings are controlled. Ghana Hydrological Authority is primarily responsible for ensuring that the drainage infrastructure that we have is adequate and effective.
And with your work with them, what are the factors you have identified that contributes to this, what we are seeing on the screen now?
So the drainage channels are silted. So, and then there's a lot of runoffs coming in from the mountains because we are taking up the vegetation for fiscal development. And then the wetlands that would have taken the runoffs from the mountains have all been sold out and are reclaimed. So as we develop a lot of concrete structures, fiscal structures, we are reducing the infiltration, and the water channels are also encroached upon and are silted. So they need to be opened up so that they can take. That is why NADMO, in collaboration with assemblies, we're removing some unauthorized structures from drainage basins and wetlands to ensure that there will be free flow, unimpeded flow of waters into the wetlands and then finally into the sea to ease the flooding in the community. So that is our contribution with the assemblies to do that. But primarily, flood control is for Ghana Hydrological Authority.
I see, but the president put this in discipline. Said people dumping refuse indiscriminately, choking drains, and then also, people building in waterways and then unauthorized places where wetlands are giving out for people to build and so on. Is that the diagnosis that you have as well?
That contributes. If people are dumping refuse in drains, people are encroaching on what. Sometimes you see houses too close to the drainage channel that it is even difficult if you have to deploy equipment to dredge it. Then that means pulling down of those structures. So that is why NADMO and the assemblies are working to clear all these areas so that we can properly open up these channels for them to carry.
But then I sought to understand why, for instance, you have to wait for a structure to be put up before you go and pull it down. I mean, it's put up over months and sometimes years at an unauthorized location, on a wetland or in a Ramsar site. After months of putting up a building, then you go and demolish it because you say this is an unauthorized location, Ramsar site. But when it was being put up, your people, what was happening?
The assemblies are responsible for development control. The planning and everything rests with the assemblies. We are only interested because it comes to us when these control measures fail. That's why we're working close. But it is the assembly that does the planning and approval of permits for all structures. So before any structure is taken out, it is the assemblies that will demarcate the areas which are unauthorized and the structures which are unauthorized. And then in collaboration, we remove them.
I see. Honorable Japabisa, on this flood matter, hearing.
It's unfortunate what these floods are doing to Ghanaians. And I recall that on 27th of May 2024, then opposition leader John Mahama, the current president, attributed the failure or the floods at the time on the failure of government to deal with the flooding situation in Ghana. And indeed, if you permit me, I'll read portions of what he posted on Facebook. The recent heavy downpour in Accra and other parts of the country have led to extensive destruction of property. This has exposed the government's failure to manage and prevent floods effectively and evokes deep concern about its lack of comprehensive flood prevention and management plan. He went on to say that given the opportunity to lead our beloved country again, a new NDC government under my leadership will not rest until we find an engineering solution to the persistent flooding and implement an effective prevention and management plan. Indeed, post this, on the 24th of August 2024, at the launch of the NDC's manifesto, extract of which I have here, they made key commitments to the people of Ghana that they were going to construct, and this is page 67 of their manifesto, that they were going to construct water retention and detention reservoirs in flood-prone communities to reduce the perennial flooding and for irrigation and other purposes. They also indicated they were going to construct and improve drainage systems in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Koforidua, and other flood-prone cities and town areas. They also said they were going to construct water storage facilities, reservoirs to store rain and pipe-borne water. They also indicated the building of storm drain systems in critical urban areas to deal with the flooding situation that has become perennial. Indeed, on 13th March 2025, the president proceeded to set up a task force that he commissioned to find an engineering solution to the flooding situation in Ghana, which, in his view, when he was in opposition, was the failure on the part of government to provide solutions to this matter. So I was really surprised to hear the president in 2026 now shifting the blame from government failure to indiscipline and chiefs or landowners who have sold land to individuals to build in waterways and all that. Now I was wondering, when did the president get to know that? When did he realize that the issue of perennial flooding was not the failure of government to provide solutions, but rather indiscipline on the part of Ghanaians and the chiefs who have sold lands to individuals as the cause of our flooding? You see, this lack of candor in dealing with issues of concern to Ghanaians is worrying. And one would ask, how is it that 18 months down the line, the president hasn't demonstrated clearly the commitments that he made in the manifesto that the good people of Ghana bought into and voted for his government? And I have the occasion to ask that governments put their money where their mouth is. And that if indeed President Mahama was committed to dealing with the flooding situation in Accra, I'm not going to take that, 2 2 years ago, we had the same situation, and that previous governments failed to deal with this matter, and that he cannot be expected to resolve this matter within 2 years. Because he knew the issues in 2024, that in spite of the investments that the Akufo-Addo government had made in dealing with the drainage system in Accra, those interventions had not yielded the desired result. And he proceeded then to commit to the people of Ghana that when voted into office, he was going to solve the flooding situation in Accra.
So what was your expectation?
My expectation would have been that immediately he came into office, knowing very well that the rains were going to come in May, June of 2025, he was going to deploy resources to start dealing with them. I don't see it. Because the evidence on the ground does not show a government that has really committed resources to deal with the flooding situation. But I've seen a government who has prioritized building of 24-hour economy markets and has actually deployed resources to build 261 markets across the country. That's the government's priority. I don't see the government's priority in actually deploying resources to alleviate the suffering of the greater majority of people who are suffering this flooding today, whose lives are at risk, whose property is being damaged. So what happened to the commitments that Mr. Mahama, the president, made to the good people of Ghana? You expend huge sums of money to build markets, 24-hour economy markets. And I ask myself, Makola market, KJTia market, Sekendi market, does it operate 24 hours? And how is a 24-hour economy market going to operate? Are you going to allocate the stores to 3 people to put their wares in shift 1, take them out for another person to come and put their wares in the stores for shift 2?
We can discuss
take them out
another day.
How are we going to discuss it another day? I'm telling you the misplaced priority of this government. You are telling me we'll discuss it another day. I'm saying that
the market, the 24-hour.
But that's the point that I'm making. That if the government prioritized the drainage situation, he would deploy that resources that he's putting in a market that, as far as I'm concerned, and with respect, let me be measured with my choice of words. Because tell me how that market is going to yield any benefit for the people of this country, when there are already markets in this country that don't operate 24 hours.
Floods.
So clearly, the president, when it comes to the issue of flooding, scammed Ghanaians who believed in his manifesto, who believed in the admonition that he made to Akufo-Addo, that when we vote President Mahama to become president again, these matters will become matters, things of the past. They have completely been disappointed.
Right.
And they cannot wait until after 4 years before they begin to ask the government questions as to when this flooding situation is going to be dealt with. They want to see the government deploying resources, real resources, in building the storm drains, the water retention systems that he committed in his manifesto to do.
Government is being called upon to do the needful, as is captured in your manifesto.
Yes, and I'm happy he rehashed the terms of our manifesto in this regard. Now, as part of the problem is also indiscipline. I don't think that the president was discounting the engineering aspect.
In his Facebook post?
Sorry?
In the Facebook post?
No, it's not even the Facebook post. Well, not before, I mean now.
Now, okay.
I think he's also talking about a major problem, which is the indiscipline aspect. But that's not to say he's not acting. Look, some of the drains that we have continued ever since we came to power, we've even dictated that they are, how do I put it? The volumes of water that they are receiving in respect of channeling, they are small. Look, I grew up in Mamobi here. The famous Kaukudi, Mamobi, Nima, Gota, all the way to Circle.
Yes.
It was started by President Akufo-Addo. So we have come to continue. But somehow, you know, it's a sealed drain. We are sealing it because we don't want the dumping of refuse, like President complained. So that storm drain, we are sealing it. And the discovery is that the volumes of water, you know, the entire, like Ejapa said earlier, the entire, where Airport City sits now, Airport City, that area, it used to be a farmland. It used to be a farmland, and during very rainy seasons, it floods. So it receives all the waters, the runoff from the airport area all the way to Shangri-La area, and channels them. There's the drain. The channel starts from behind Opebia, between Opebia and
the Shangri-La area.
Yes, so it comes. There's an eastward movement and the westward. The eastward one crosses the channel where Hotel Kufuor and Co are sitting now. There's another drain that is been sealed. Construction has blocked all the channels. The westward one starts from that farmland area. You know, the airport is slightly, slightly on a hilly area, slightly. So the water drains from the airport to that side. It runs through that channel behind Opebia. So you start from Opebia all the way to Alliance Francaise, narcotics control. It comes down to Kaukudi proper, and then
I get the point. Development will definitely take place.
No, so I'm saying that where Silver Star is sitting. So it's all blocked. The whole area has become concretized. So the original, you know, that design was started long ago when President Akufo-Addo started the construction.
Okay.
They continue with the original design, thought of around maybe mid-95 or early 2000s. So now the drain is being done, is being sealed, but the runoff is such that the water is still running on the drain. So there is water both in the drain, sealed, and on top of the drain.
But the president talks about crowd lying low because
no,
of
I'll give you the geography. I'll give you the geography of the West African coastline. Lagos is drained by so many rivers. If you get to Lagos, it's actually sitting on a delta.
You didn't know all this when you were in opposition.
Oh no, we let's speak purposively.
Which purposively?
Ejapa.
You made commitments to the people of
Ejapa,
Ghana.
And we are continuing.
You are telling me.
Ejapa, can you be quiet?
When you are in opposition,
can you be quiet? So
Lagos.
Oh, Ejapa.
So deal with the issue.
I'm dealing with the issue.
You are not.
I'm not skirting. I'm dealing with the issue.
You are not.
So it's not only Accra that is sitting in a low-lying area. Lagos is, Cotonou is, Lomé is, Accra is, Abidjan. When you get to Abidjan, is arguably the most, where Abidjan is sitting, is arguably the most water drain area in the whole of West Africa.
Okay.
And then
you were a geographer too on top of the law.
And then Freetown. As for Freetown, I was a top student in geography. As for Freetown,
then please advise your government on this.
So the issue, that's what it's about funding. So we are dealing.
You knew it.
Oh, but you got Garrick 1, Garrick 2. So the commitment is there. So I agree that we need to commit more and deliver. So, like it says, the rate of progress of the construction, we must also look at it. Some of the contractors, they go to site, they think that they are doing normal construction. So, they don't work assiduously. It takes forever for the drains to be delivered. 2, some of the areas will have to be re-engineered. And again, it comes to discipline. So, the factors are there, but as a government, we are committed. And he being one of the stakeholders in the area, he knows the things they encounter when they go to the field. So all of us, I don't think we should do politics with this matter. But government should be encouraged.
You said we shouldn't what?
We won't do politics with this matter. You may want to do the
politics. So shameless.
No, I'm not shameless. I'm telling because you see, Ejapa, you have had Ejapa.
The people who are suffering,
Ejapa,
whose properties,
yes,
they are losing today.
Ejapa,
believe in the commitment that.
But we are continuing. Ejapa, you have had your say. Can I finish?
Well, let him round up, please.
Let me finish. You may want to do propaganda, but you had your time. You had 8 years. Before the 8 years, you had another 8 years. So if we want to lay blames, we can properly lay blames. But I am not here to do that. I'm dealing with the hydra-headed nature of the problem. And I think that we need more resources. So I'm happy just next month, the finance minister is coming. As a house, we may have to call upon him to take a second look at the resources to Ministry of Works and the Garrick project and see how that can be expeditiously delivered. In fact, we should be able to look at the Garrick projects as part of maybe another big push. The kind of commitment we are making. Oh yes, because the kind of commitment we are making.
Push that is turning into a big loot.
Which loot?
All your sole sourcing.
Oh, you see, this propaganda is
the president.
This propaganda. You set up a committee. You did this propaganda. You did this propaganda. It hasn't served you. So I am sitting here calling on the finance minister. Oh, Ejapa. Today, you are looking for things to say. There's none. I am calling on my own government, my finance minister, that next month when it comes with a mid-year review, we should be able to allocate more resources to the works ministry and also the Garrick project. They shouldn't be considered as normal construction projects, civil works.
So the task force that was set up last year didn't know.
Oh, but
that the raise will come.
Why? There were raised last year.
To prioritize.
Listen, there were raised last year.
As opposed to
the rot you left behind. We struggled last year.
Incompetence on this.
No. There's nothing incompetent about it. The rot you left behind. Do you know the depth from whence we've risen?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Do you know the depth from which we've risen to get here?
We hear you.
So we're asking for more resources. Which are
your data that your Agric ministry is questioning.
Which data?
The finance ministry.
Agric ministry hasn't questioned any data.
To talk about
they haven't questioned any data.
The Key Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
The free primary healthcare is applicable to the 33 million Ghanaians. You don't need to be a subscriber before you can enjoy the free primary healthcare.
If there were to be an outbreak today, would you have frontline workers?
We have an isolation centers or treatment centers dedicated for some of these things. So even if there's an outbreak today, why not?
You have willing frontline workers.
I have given directives in this ministry that any project that is completed, you don't need me to come and commission before you use.
Specifically when will the ministry open the Weija Children's Hospital for use?
As soon as possible. The former administration has recruited about 13,500 health workers, nurses and midwives, without financial provision. The good news is that, as I speak to you now, all the 13,500 people are on the payroll now.
What would it take to have a seamless process so that containers don't sit at the port for months?
People at the various desks, when they are given responsibilities, they must also be serious about their work. We want to get to a point where every Ghanaian, irrespective of your status, you must have access to quality health care.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.